人が笑顔で過ごし続けるためには、誰かの助けが必要なこともあります。笑顔を支える仕事がしたい、誰かに助けが必要な時に力になりたい。社会医療法人敬人会。
さあ皆さんおはようございます。私の音声聞こえてますでしょうか。さあ今まだ、アイスメイクをされているところでありますが、ちょっと始めていきたいと思います。はい、ありがとうございます皆さん。結局夜中の24時からスタートした、配信ですが、ちょいちょい短い休憩を挟みながらついに朝7時を迎えてしまいました。ありがとうございます。映像もね、大丈夫そうですね。この配信に関しては、またちょっとテクニカルスタッフなしの私ワンマンでやっていきますので、何かありましたらぜひチャットの方でご指摘いただければ、直せるところは直すようにしますが、頑張ります。さあ、もうこれは嬉しい悲鳴と言っても過言ではないかもしれません。誰がこんな展開を想像したんでしょうか。予選第5位で通過して、まず一番最初に当たったのが、これ、5勝0敗で勝ち上がった、フラッシュと、チームフラッシュとの対戦という形で、しかも点数も、3点とビッグエンドを取りながらも最終的には差をつけて、勝利という形になりました。そして今ここでついに決勝戦の舞台に SC 軽井沢男子は立っています。はいね、もう予選で負けてきたチームをすべてリベンジしてですね、そしてこの決勝戦に今選手たちも短い休憩でこの決勝戦に臨むという非常にハードなスケジュールではありますが、おそらく今皆さん見ていただいている皆さんと同じくSC の選手のみんなも、気持ちが高ぶってるんじゃないかなと想像します。朝7時からね、もうすでにありがとうございます。70人を近いご視聴いただきましてありがとうございます。先ほどの試合もですね、非常に緊張感のある試合でしたが、ちょっとね、ニコッとする場面というか、ハプニングもありましたけれども、そのハプニングに関しては見てない方はぜひアーカイブを見ていただいてお楽しみいただければと思います。これだけの緊張感のある、そして、集中力の必要な試合を1時間、ほとんど1時間もないような休憩時間で3連戦っていうね、もう非常にタイトなスケジュールで行われています。 さあ、そして決勝は予選でも対戦しましたシェーラー、スイスのチームですね、との対戦になっております。今ですね、試合前の練習をしているようですが、この後おそらくオープニングの、CM というか入りまして、そこから試合開始というような形になると思われます。いやー、本当にまさか徹夜こんなに徹夜が楽にできるものとは思いませんでした。すべての試合がもう本当に素晴らしい試合で、ハラハラドキドキもありましたけれども、こんなにシーズン初めの、しかもカーリングスタジアムジャパンとしては、シーズン初めての配信のイベントがですね、大会が、こんなに素晴らしくていいのかなと、この先、ちょっとどうなってしまうんだろうっていう心配しちゃうぐらいの、内容の試合を見せてもらっています。もしかしたらね、去年までも、日本のチームはカナダに来て、こういう非常に厳しいというか、素晴らしい試合を繰り広げて、レベルを上げてですね、日本選手権等に、そしてオリンピックなどにも臨んでいたのかもしれないんですが、カナダのね、こうやって試合を何回も今までの試合でも話してましたが、見れるっていうのはなかなか今までなかったことですし、大会のスコアだけでは想像つかないようなですね、試合の様子が見れるっていうのは非常にいいことなんじゃないかなというふうに思っております。また、解説、実況、解説になっているかどうか分かりませんが、コメンタリーをさせていただくのは、私、青木学がやらせていただきます。もう徹夜でね、見ていただいている皆さんも、ちょっとリラックスしながら楽しんでいただければいいと思いますし、この決勝からご参加いただく皆さん、ちょっとこれは楽しみな試合になると思いますんで、気合い入れて応援しましょう。さあ、対戦相手の練習が終わって、今は SC 軽井沢の練習になってますね。はい、先ほどですね、試合結果、ちょっとインスタとかフェイスブックに上げといたらですね、小泉選手がいいねってしてくれてましたね。試合間で忙しいだろうし、緊張感もある中、まさかのインスタに反応していただいて、感謝でございます。はい、徹夜組、お疲れ様でございます。あまり無理して体調崩さないようにだけ気をつけていただければと思います。さあ、さすがに決勝戦ともなれば、観客もね、準決勝とかの時もいっぱいでしたけれども、もう SC たちのシートの後ろには、たくさんの観客がいて、見てくれています。いやー、本当にこの大会を、これは CM が入るのかな。違いましたね。SC の選手たちも非常に集中して、 素晴らしいショットを積み重ねてここまで来てくれています。このね、カナダでの大会、まだ今週のこの大会を皮切りに、まだまだカナダでの合宿、試合は続くんですが、まあ間違いなく素晴らしい経験を積み重ねてくれて、これから日本代表としてもですね、活躍してくれるんじゃないかと期待が高まります。おはようございます。寝落ちしちゃったんですね。かよもんさん。お弁当ばっちり安心しました。はい。なんかちょっとお弁当気になってました。ご報告ありがとうございます。はい。さすがにですね、決勝戦は端っこのシートではできないということだと思います。はい。朝早く出勤前に観戦していただいてありがとうございます。ちょっと試合見すぎて遅刻しないようにだけ皆さん気をつけていただいて、あと電車乗り過ごしたりとかね、車運転してるときは見てちゃダメなんで、十分気をつけていただきたいと思います。はい、仕事をしながら応援もぜひぜひ引き続きよろしくお願いします。さあ、ちょっと何かね、映ってるカメラも若干、引きの映像で珍しく4シート全部、若干見切れてはいますが、見えてる状態で皆さんにご覧いただいてます。さあ、ちょっとこれですね、今までの予選の方からの話をしていくとすると、こちらが、まず予選は第5位で3勝2敗でプレーオフへ進出と。はい、その際には、先ほど試合をしていたチームフラッシュが5勝0敗でしたね。そしてシエラ、これから決勝の相手ですが、こちらが4勝1敗で2位で、プレーオフ進出。マイク・マキュイーン、スティーブ・レイコック、そしてリク・柳沢という形でプレーオフでした。そしてプレーオフも、まずレイコックとの試合、こちらに勝ちまして、先ほどのフラッシュとの試合ということで、今、この決勝の場に SC 軽井沢は立っております。はい、本当、ずっと徹夜でご覧いただいている皆さんは、ちょっと軽く仮眠していただいたりとかしながら、今日のお仕事は ちりまたやっていただければと思います。チョイシンさんは台風で出勤なくなった、在宅ワークになったんですね。はい、応援していただけるのはいいんですが、台風の影響で何事もなければと思います。ちょっとね、災害とかがなければいいですよね。はい、これなんかよくわからないんですが、教えてもらった URL で配信を始めたら、こういう映像になっております。電車運転見合わせとか結構台風の影響出てるんですね。はい、皆さんお気をつけください。さあ、画面が暗転しましたんで、これで始まるかな？はい、ユーズニアさん、もうすぐ出勤ということで、お仕事も頑張ってください。はいはいはい、配信始まりましたね。では、こちらも、まもなく映像が、はい、来たと思います。
Saskatchewan, you know SaskTel because we're everywhere. Because being everywhere keeps us connected to you. You are what matters most. With SaskTel sponsorships, we get to be a
人が笑顔で過ごし続けるためには、誰かの助けが必要なこともあります。笑顔を支える仕事がしたい、誰かに助けが必要な時に力になりたい、社会医療法人敬人会。
Saskatchewan. So keep dancing, keep laughing, keep discovering, and we'll be there to help, to lend a hand, and join in the fun. SaskTel cares.
さあ、それでは日本の皆さんには、
To apply for sponsorship, visit sastel.com/sponsorships.
はい。早速、敬人会のスポンサーさんの敬人会さんのですね、CM も見ていただきました。さあ、いよいよ皆さんお待たせしました。カーリングスタジアムマーテンスビルインターナショナル決勝戦のスタートです。はい、解説は例によって私青木がさせていただきます。解説実況独り言なのかもしれませんが、よろしくお願いします。さあ、リード小泉選手、 2投目ですね。センターにガードを置いてきました。予選から、この決勝戦までの準決勝までのこの、会場のですね、氷とストーンのコンディションは非常に素晴らしい状態だったと思います。途中予選の時だったと思いますが、山口選手がインスタに上げられてたのかな。なんか一番速い時は17秒台が出てたと。超高速リンクだったというようなことを聞きましたが、さあ、山本選手の一投ですね。ここはしっかりとセンターガードを抜けて、赤いストーンの前に止まりました。チャットの方では、お隣女子はスイス対カナダということなんですね。ありがとうございます、情報。もう試合始まってすぐに120人を超える皆さんがご覧いただいてます。ありがとうございます。さあ、試合は進んでおります。センターのガードを割るということで一つ外されました。今のところハウスに入っているストーンはありませんので、さあこの辺りで柳沢選手は中を狙ってくるのか。これは今立ってる位置からすると中にドローですね。非常に最後曲がりがしっかりと出てきます。回り込めず前のストーンのところに近づいて止まりました。さあチームシエラーとしてはこれセンター寄りにある赤いストーンを押すんでしょうか、それともセンターのこの並んでいるのを崩しに来てるのか。これは赤を押してきてますね。見事にダブルロールインをしました。 さあ、山口選手もいつものルーティーンをしてパックから出ています。はい、これはピールになりましたね。さあ、ここでサードのシエラ選手。チャットは何かあれですね、セカンドの方がペイツさんの彼氏でしたっけなんていう話が出ておりますが、さあ、押してハウスの中を、押したんじゃないんですね。ごめんなさい。サイドの方にドローをしてきました。T の後ろの方ですね。さあ、今、山口選手は投げる前に確認をしているようです。ストーンはおそらく山口選手の側から見るとほとんど見えてるんじゃないかなと思いますが、さあ、
So looking at the slash double here.
ショットの方針が決まったようです。山口選手。
Wow, just slides by everything.
おっと、珍しくスルーでしたでしょうか。まあ連戦の疲れもあると思います。
Schwaller, his team out of Switzerland, playing against Yanagisawa and his Japanese foursome. So a truly international final for this Martensville International.
さあ、シエラ選手は外から
come around now. A little bit of a discussion as he meets up with the front end. You have to think the concern here is if you come right
この
around the
試
two
合は比
center
較
guards,
的考えますね、やっぱりね、決勝だけあ
Yanagisawa
って。
simply follows you down, even if he's only second shot. He takes away those other two stones.
ハウス側から見た景色と自分がいざ投げる時のハックに座った時の景色が違ったんでしょうね、きっとね。シエラ選手がまたハウスの方に戻ってきました。
See them tapping the ice in behind the corner guard as well. Discussion there might be, how can we get one here? Do you play through the court or would you go wide around the outside?
さ
Could go wide to the open side. They're looking at that as well. They
あ、
might
しっ
make a
かり
double
と
over
チ
there,
ー
but
ム
then
の
you still
中
got
で
chance
確
for
認
two.
をしています。
This is a new lineup this year. They do have a couple of players that have played together before. Pablo's shot is the lead.
さあ、ショットの方がこれ
Second,
何をするかが決まったようです。
And the fourth rock thrower, Benoit Schwartz, have played together before. Yannick Schwaller, skip, throws the third stones. It looks like they've opted to go towards the open side. They do have that rock in the back 12 foot there.
さあ、
There's a
シエラ選
possibility
手
they're going to leave a double, but as long as the Japanese skip can't get in behind cover, you're still going to have a chance for two. The double still has to be made. They're looking to get this way out wide on one.
懸命なスイープ。
Pressures were on this all
どう
the
だ
way down. And looks like they will get just a piece of the 12 foot, enough to sit three for now. And boy,
ナ
that's
イ
the
スス
maximum
イープです
separation if
ね。
you're
こ
worried about
れ
trying that
天
double.
井カメラから見るとバイターになったと思われます。センターの方に入っている赤とは平行。なおかつ T ラインの後ろの赤とは直線で並んでいるような状態になりました。
These two played together for a few years now. Of course, the roles were reversed last year. Satoshi Kazumi is the lead and new to the team
さ
this
あ、こ
year.
こは
Second man, Takiro Yamamoto.
SC もどういうふうに展開していくかですね。
A strong field to play against in their preliminary round. They
うま
played
いことハ
5 games.
ウス
All
の
the teams played 5 games. In
各
their
所
5
に
games, they
赤い
played
ストーンが配置さ
all
れて
4
ま
of
す
the
の
other
で、
playoff teams in the men's side.
ちょっとダブルするとかっていうこ
Came through
と、
the
もしくは
preliminary
ト
round
リ
with
プル
a
するっ
record
て
of
いう
3-2.
こ
Their
と
two
も
losses were against Colton Flash in their first game
考
and
えたとして
Steve
も、
Laycock in their final game. So far in the playoffs this morning, they got a chance to play Steve Laycock again in the
はい、
quarterfinals.
どうやら決まっ
Got
たよ
their
うですね。
revenge there.
前から
Got their revenge against
コーナー
Colton
にある
Flash
スト
in
ー
the
ンを
semifinal just about an hour
どう
ago.
やら打って、
Played Schwaller on Friday morning. They were victorious there and looking to go 2-0 against the Swiss, but in a little bit of
さあ、
trouble here in the first. Catches enough of that stone to
弾き出して、
make contact with the back one, but not enough to get it out of the ring, so leaves Schwaller sitting
形が
two
変わ
right
り
now.
ました。 さあ、今度は、チームシュエラーのシュワルツ選手ですね。
Benoit Schwartz, the fourth stone thrower. Now they're going to come around the
予
center.
戦
Of
で
course,
対
you
戦した
went to the
際
wings, and now
も、
you might see
まあ、
Yanagisawa
こ
come
のチー
down
ム
to
全
that
体
back
的に素
stone
晴
and
らしかったで
take
す
your end
が、
away that way.
特にやはりホースを投げているシュワルツ選手は安定していました。
might like to be just biting the 8-foot here. You come into the top 4, you're going to see Yanagisawa try to come around and freeze on top of you.
ハウスの中は縦に並んでいます。
So if Yanagisawa does make the freeze, you're still going to have the edge of the 4 to draw for your 2.
さあ、柳沢選手はこれをどのように対応してくるでしょうか。
Big shot here in the first end. Yanagisawa with
さあ、
out last
柳沢
rock.
選手の
Facing 3.
ラストロック、先行ラストロックです
Get
ね。
a piece of this stone in front of the red shot stone in order to prevent an opportunity for Schwaller force him to perhaps get 3 or 4 here. Now this has got a lot of room and might be a little heavy, so
さ
trying
あ、
to
回
come
ってき
by
た。
that top one now, maybe get down to the back one, and by doing that they accomplish the same thing. They're not going to have a chance to get that stone out for a big multiple count. Does leave him room that he could come down to his own stone that he just threw on his first one and get 2 that
そ
way.
して見事にハウスの中にはドローは決まってナンバー2なんですけれども、ここにまた追いかけてくるような形で投げてくるでしょう。
Could have left Schwaller the chance to hit for 4. As it is, it's a draw for 2. Pressure's on this right away. Made the draw to the full 4-foot
さあ、
on his
どうだ。
first. Needs to just about bite 4-foot here to get his second point. Pressure's easing up now just a little bit. Will come down past his own stone, grabs the corner of the
こ
button.
の辺りはしっかりと
人が笑顔で過ごし続けるためには、誰かの助けが必要なこともあります。笑顔を支える仕事がしたい、誰かに助けが必要な時に力になりたい。社会医療法人敬人会。
あら、YouTube がなぜか、今、読み込んでいるようです。少々お待ちください。よかった。帰ってきました。
First stone of this second end brought into the top of the 8-foot. Now we see
さあ、大量失点を
Yanagisawa looking for the corner guard.
なりそうでしたけれども、なんとか2点でしのぎ切りました。もう1エンド目からガンガン攻めてきますね。
Schwaller quick to put the pin down. Not sure that they're looking for. I think it's only a 2-point lead this early in the game. Probably playing the tight center here. Later in the game, he might see a lot of teams play the second one into the rings. Don't know if they do that this early.
そして、SC 軽井沢は2点ビハインドでこのエンドを進めますので、コーナーガードからの展開になっています。さあ、小泉選手。
Yanagisawa asking Kazumi to
2投目です。
come down, probably just tight by the center guard, clip that stone at the top of the 8 foot, roll the shooter over towards the corner guard.
先ほどの試合ではちょっとね、山口選手と小泉選手に笑顔がこぼれるシチュエーションがありましたけれども、ここはきっちり集中しています。センターの相手のチームのストーンを開きましたね。
Schwaller will look to guard it again, but after this stone is thrown, the free guard zone has expired and you can start peeling those guards.
さあ、そしてチームシュエラー。またここはしっかりとセンターを塞いできました。
Gets the guard a little bit tighter, but in nice line.
ここはこの状況を SC 軽井沢としては形を変えていきたい。
So going to look to run it through. Try to catch the stone at the top of the 8 foot.
はい、山本選手は開けましたね。きっちりと開けてきました。
Schwaller will look to put the guard back. Nothing into the brushers again. Needs to curl a little bit more to cover that stone, but already very tight to the rings. Stops just short of the 12 foot. Those two stones a little closer together now. Perhaps another chance to play it as a run through. The other option, I'm surprised he didn't look at it, could play the half rock on the other side and play the double on the red biter. Might have still opted to play this anyway. I'm just surprised he didn't look at the other option. Makes the double, his shooter stays right there.
センターガードからの打って形を崩すということを繰り返されています。
Schwaller the skip throws the third stones. He's down at the hack end now, looking to play the come around.
さあ、火曜日の朝でありますが、今、140人を超える皆さんにご視聴いただいてます。ありがとうございます。
Michelle trying to bring it back, get it buried as far as he can, brings that into the top button area. Probably about half behind cover.
さあ、今度はセンターにあるシェーラーのス
Enough
トー
room
ン
there
を
though for Yamaguchi to make a play on it. Try to hold the shooter on the corner.
ヒットしてロールをしようとしてますかね。
It is a blue guard. You could try running the guard back, and even if you're pretty close to the nose, anything that rolls to the right as Yamaguchi is looking at it. Anything rolling to the right, there's 3 guards over there to protect you.
さあ、山口選手。狙いを定めました。
This is really curling. They're going to have to go to get by the
ど
guard.
うだ
And I think we had a burnt stone there. Looked like one of the brushers might have touched that stone. Perhaps he was trying to lift up his brush, actually.
思ったよりも曲がってし
So
ま
that
い
one
ました
comes
か
off. Unfortunate there for this Japanese foursome, because even with the fact that it didn't look like they were going to get the result they were looking for, chipping that guard out of the way would have at least opened it up for the next one. Now you allow Yanagisawa a chance to play a
さあ、こ
second
こは
guard
ま
on that
た
stone
シ
at
ェ
the
ー
top
ラ
of
ー、
the
チー
court,
ム
which
シェーラーとしては真ん中にある
might
ナン
have
バー
to
ワン
play
の
some
とこ
kind
ろ
of double
に
peel.
塞いでいきたいでしょう。
Just looking for the guard here. That stone he put in on his first, about half exposed. So looking to take away
さあ、
that
シュワル
half.
ツ選手が
Looked like
指
to
し示し
overlap
てい
the
るブ
guards
ラシの
just
も
a
と
little
へス
bit.
トーンが
There's no run back.
しっかりと
Puts that
来ま
dead
し
in
た。
line to the shot stone.
センターガードが決まっています。
Yanagisawa asking him to come down and sit on the face of that and bump it back a
さあ、
little bit.
SC
Well,
軽井
might
沢
play
と
the
しては
double peel, or
こ
pardon me,
のナン
the
バー
double
ワンに
run.
収ま
Trying
っ
to over
て
the
い
top
る
of the blue, straight back.
赤いストーン
There's the possibility if you do that.
をどうにか
And make
動
it
か
well
してい
enough,
きたい
you
で
could
すよね。
kill the shot stone and roll a blue in behind cover on the corners.
さあ、
At the
山
very
口選
least,
手。
open up the middle. One thing we've seen all week long, it is very difficult to guard an existing rock with just one guard right now. There's so much finish. You can usually get at it from one side to the other.
さあ、
Gotta get close to the nose here. You don't want to bump out into the open.
曲げて
Finishing nicely now. Wow, big finish there. Gets the tap. Does not move
はい、
it
ナ
far
イス
enough
ショ
to
ッ
be
ト。
shot rock, however. That should give fourth rock
しっかり
thrower
と
Benoit Schwartz a chance to
T ラ
throw
インよ
another
り後
guard.
ろに押し込んでいきましたが、
Take away
ま
the
だナ
path
ンバーワンは
that they just threw, so they can't
チー
get
ム
down
シエ
and
ラ
do
の
it again.
この赤いストーン。そのためこの赤いストーンを守りに
You saw Yannick kind of indicating anywhere in this line right here. Take away that same
シュワ
path.
ルツ選手は投げるようです。 センター付近へ届くようなストーン、約10フィートぐらい幅を取ってますよね。もしくは11に近いかもしれないですが、まあ、ちょっとセンターよりも空いてる方の側に止めても問題ないということで、ちょっと広めには取っているんだと思います。はい、サイでは来ました。
Nagasawa might have room to come down and touch his own up for shot rock. Could play the double peel.
さあ、
Looking at the run back.
なんとかワンのストーンを後ろに下げたいところではありますが、非常に角度のないところ。
Throw big weight with this either. If you hit it just a little bit too thin, quieter weight, put it onto your own stone out front of the rings, you could split them both in.
ただそこをチャレンジするようです。
Might put a little pressure on Schwartz with his last one.
これはもうピンポイントで当てていかないと、センターにある青いガードに当たってしまったりとか。さあ、柳沢力選手。どうでしょうか。
Just catches the stone at the top of the forefoot, but still able to make contact with shot rock.
ちょっと自分のナンバー2のところに触れましたが、これは難しいショットを決めてきました。
Doesn't push it out from behind cover.
素晴らしい。まあ、やはり自分で自信を持って選択したショットですからね。まあ、よく言われていると思いますが、パッとファーストインプレッションでこれがいけるなって思ったところのショットを投げた方が決まるよっていう話がありますので、おそらく柳沢選手は先ほどのショットを一番最初にイメージできたんだと思います。これはもう取られないであろうと、ナンバーワンを隠してきたシュエラー、チームシュエラーですが、ここでシュワルツ選手にドローをするということをしなければいけなくなりました。もう4フットに丸々入ってますからね、これもうボタンに触るぐらいのドローではないとナンバーワンにはならないと思います。ただここの氷とストーンはかなり曲がってくる。ウェイトとスイーピングのジャッジが合っていれば入ってきますが、押し込むワンにはなれませんでしたね。さあ、ここで2点欲しいところではあります。
having to put the broom way out in the weeds.
4フットに丸々入れば2点。
Someone might have been wondering about the draw on the other side, but the stagger on the guards is just the wrong way.
半分以上入れば2点ですかね、これね。この辺り、この大会では柳沢選手、こういうショットをきっちりと決めてきていますんで、ぜひここも2点取って同点に追いつきたい。さあ、柳沢選手、2投目です。ラストロック。
Staying close, but they've got to wait for a line call. This is still on the outside of the redstone in the 12-foot. Sweeping now for some curl. It's going to rub that stone.
チップし
A
て、
little too thick. Comes on to the one just thrown by Schwartz, and it is just a single point for Yanagisawa. He takes one here in the second. Schwaller with a 2-1 lead, and last rock going into the third.
For victims of domestic abuse, fleeing may mean leaving everything behind. There is hope. SaskTel provides brand new cell phones so that starting over is possible. Learn more at sastel.com/freshstart.
Two ends complete here in this championship final from the Curling Stadium Martensville International. My name is Sean Joyce. I want to thank all of you who've been with us all week long. Been some exciting curling action in this truly international field. And as we look across the two finals, the men's and the women's final, we've got 3 of the international teams have made the final. Savannah Tirinzoni from Switzerland playing against Clancy Grandy in the women's final as well. Two to one here as we begin the third end. Yannick Schwaller with the lead and last rock. Riku Yanagisawa asking for a center guard. Looking for that a little bit tighter, but when they decide that it's going to come up short, they pull the sweep off. You might see them throw a second guard regardless now. Yannick Schwaller looking to come around that guard. Might see him in an even end, still throw a corner guard, but he's already in end management mode. Ideally, you'd like to have last rock in the even ends if you could. Going to throw this one right in the rings to the middle and see if he might be able to work this end for a blank. Yanagisawa looking for the second center guard now. Gets the second center guard. Would have still liked it a little bit tighter, but they are pretty well in line. Pablo shot being asked to come around
はい
again.、
音声復活しましたでしょうか。皆さん聞こえます？
His own this time.
たった今ですね、本家からありがとうござい
Shooter
ま
piece in
す。
behind cover and
本家から直接電話がかかってくるというびっくりしましたが、それでお電話対応しておりました。申し訳ございません。本家の方から画質をもっといいやつできるだろうと、はい、いうことでですね、YouTube の画質を調整せよということで指示をもらいまして、今変えてみたんですけど、どうでしょう。
Yamamoto being asked to come down and sit on the
カー
stone
リング
that's
スタジアム
partially
ジャパ
behind
ンの
cover.
映像、多少は綺麗になりましたかね。はい、ありがとうございます。よかったです。はい、ご本家の映像もあれなんですが、ジャパンの映像もこれで見ていただけるんじゃないかと思います。ありがとうございます、皆さん。どうやらですね、なんか YouTube で自動的にその配信に合わせてちょっと低画質という低画像になってたみたいですね。まあこれで高画質になったからといってトラブルにならなければいいと思います。さあ、平日の朝8時を過ぎましたが、120人超えの視聴をしていただいております。引き続きありがとうございます。
Would have liked to have kept his own rock at the side of the 8 foot there, but priority right now is getting that center line clear. He's still thinking blank end if he could get it here anyway.
試合の方は2対1ということで、進んでおりますが、まだまだ1点差というところ。
You can hit that blue stone at the top of the 8 foot and always kill the red in behind it. The problem with that is you leave the double, and Schwaller probably has his blank. If you're going to play that, you're going to do it
さあ、
very
セ
late
ン
in
ター
the
に
end.
ガードが置かれました。ここはね、もうシェーラーのチームは後攻でラストロック持ってますんで、
For now, you throw the guard.
オー
Schwaller
プンにオー
plays
プン
the
にと
peel.
いう形でしてきますんで、 SC 軽井沢としてはそこをまたセンターを塞ぐというところの繰り返しになるかと思います。
Expect that might happen 2 more times yet at least.
ありがとうございますね。いろいろなトラブルがあって、ご本家も見つつジャパンの映像も見ていただいたりとかしてたと思いますが、もしかしたら何かあった場合はね、タイムラグもなさそうですか？はい。それであれば、それは非常にいいことですね。さあ、このあたり、センターにガードを置いては開けて、センターに置いてはガードを開けての攻防が繰り広げられております。
does roll his shooter out of play.
さあここでどのあたりで
So the question now, do we throw one more
SC
guard
は
or do you want to come and sit down on top of it again?
柳沢選手は変えてくるか。あ、ここ
Play the
で
hit.
変えてきそうですか。あ、いや手前に止
Tend
め
to
る
think you
か
throw one more guard. He's probably
中
still
に入れ
peeling.
てくるかを相談しているようですね。
I think the indication
ただ
was they're
立
going
って
to
る
try
位
to
置
come
自体
right
は
in,
それ
sit
ほ
on
ど変わ
top,
って
freeze
な
to
い
your
かと
own.
思います。
You want to leave the 3 stones in a line so that any hit attempt, the blue stone that's sitting there right now won't be able to go anywhere. It'll be just squeezed in the middle.
さあ山口選手、ウェイトは良さそうですね。スイーパーがコントロールしています。
Well, I may have opted for one
は
more
い、ナイス
straight
ショッ
guard.
ト。しっかりとガードを置いてきました。
So decision time now for Schwaller. You know, if you just peel it out one more time, they're going to do something with the stones in the house. Looking at coming around the corner guard. I don't know if you can get dead buried and be second shot rock, but you can get a piece
さあ
behind
今度
and
は
sit
シエ
two.
ラー選手たちが何か今までとは違
You
う
have to be a
こ
little
と
bit
を
concerned that
仕掛けてきそうな気配です。
Yanagisawa could play the nose hit on the blue guard. Leave himself sitting two in behind cover.
よかった。そう言っていただけると画質とともに SC の精度が上がってきたっていうならもっと画質上げられるもんだったらどんどん上げたいところなんではありますが、とりあえず今これ、一番上の画質にしてあります。なのでこれからもバシバシ SC のショットは決まってくるのではないかと思います。
They are playing the draw, looking to come just to the edge of the 4-foot.
こういうところがいいですよね。本当に内々の話になっちゃうかもしれないですけど、日本のテクニカルスタッフがちょっとね、今いない状態で私一人でやってますんで、今度はそこに本家でご本人さんから、カナダのテクニカルスタッフが私のところにしかも直伝してくるっていう。そのおかげで SC のショット精度まで上がってしまうという素晴らしい効能がありましたが、さあ5K もうそんなになっちゃったらビタビタにみんなボタンに決まっちゃいそうですね、ドローがね。さあチームシエラーはこれでコーナーガードを置いといたところに入れてきましたね。これはナイスショット。 T 前にしっかり隠れて入っています。
Indicated possibly playing off the stone that was just thrown, but
天井カメラから見る限りでは2は SC の青のように見えますが、さあ今度は今コーナーガードで隠れたストーンからのヒットロールなのか、縦に並んでいるものをちょっと形を変えていくのか。
Looks like they're still looking at perhaps coming around the guard, quiet wait. Try to get to the stone that was just thrown.
さあ、山口
Move it
選
out
手と
from behind the
柳
guard
沢
at least and
選
roll
手
the shooter
で、
over in behind the 3 stones on the right side as we look at it.
しっかりと確認をして、今、柳沢選手、ハックの方に向かっていきます。
Certainly all week long, there's been plenty of finish on this ice. Has appeared today like it might be getting just a little bit straighter, not as much finish. It's going to make this shot a little bit tricky.
そして柳沢選手の一投。コーナーの後ろのストーンに当ててロールしてステイしました。ナイスショット。
But going to roll just a little bit too far out into the open.
ナイススイープでしたね。ガードをギリギリにかわして、そしてスイーパーも入れ替わってのこのショット。
Concerned if you froze down to the back one, you might see Yanagisawa follow you down. If he can get to the inside of it, might take your end away. Same time though, if you play the same shot and
さあ相手チームもここ
Yanagisawa
で
makes the same shot, he can't roll out of the forefoot. His own
ショッ
stone
ト
will act
を
as a
考
catcher.
えています。今後ろにヒットロールで止まったストーンをバックガードにしてドローしていくのか。
So it looks like they've decided to come down to the blue at the back of the 8-foot. You don't actually have to come down to it. You could, as long as you get tight so that there's not room to hit and roll under,
そうで
you
す
could stop
ね。
right on the tee line here.
チャットの方でもスイープの疲れの
There's
ピー
probably no
ク、ス
chance
イープ
for
も疲れのピークでしょう
Yanagisawa to
に
draw,
すごいと
get to the
いうコ
inside
メン
of
ト
your
がありま
stone.
すが、さすがにね、
It's going to be all about weight.
3試合こう立て続けにいくら途中休憩時間があったとはいえ、1時間ずつぐらいしかなかったですからね。この試合もまあ7エンドで終わったとしたって、3試合やれば21エンドになりますからね。さあ、ここはしっかりと後ろに止めてきました。
Two stones at the top of the house. So tough for Yanagisawa to get to the inside of that. Looking at it from the overhead, if he sits right on the face of the red that was just thrown, I don't think he would be shot rock. He'd have to get to the inside of it.
さあ、ここは後ろの相手が止めてきたストーンを追いかけるという手もありますが、
right onto the blue at the top
ど
of the
う
8.
やら前から
And the blue-red combination might be lined up.
レイズ
Clip
を
that
狙う
red
の
stone
か。
that was just delivered, and with that little bit of separation, might be room to double them out.
青、青、赤、赤と。そうですね。ランバックもダブルのランバックしてダブルですよね。ダブルテイクアウトになるっていう。
Riku Yanagisawa here in the third end without last rock, looking for the run back double. On the guard, catches the top of the forefoot, clips the stone at the back. It does move the blue stone as well.
柳沢選手、お見
I
事。
think the red rolled farther than the blue, so I think it is Yanagisawa sitting 2 right now. It did stay biting. Now the one I can't answer about is the one on the side, whether that one was straight there or if it came off the boards. That would have been one of the guards. I presume somebody was watching that, so it's just an opportunity to draw here. Benoit Schwartz
これは素晴らしいショットが出ま
fight
し
on the
た。
forefoot. Can pick up his single point here.
さあ、シュワルツ選手もここは負けてはいられないでしょ
Keepers are staying close to this one. That's usually a good sign for the weight. They need to put this close to the tee line. He's going away from the center line, so the farther this travels, the farther it gets away from the forefoot. Comes down, puts it right on the tee line, does pick up his single point. Yannick
う。はい、
Schwaller
こ
with a
こは
3-1 lead over
ドロー
Riku
が決まった
Yanagisawa
ようです
after
ね。
3 ends of play.
これはまあナイスショットでしたね。まあその前の柳沢選手のこのランバックはすごかったです。さあ、では CM に入りましたんで、ここでまたケイジン会さんの CM をご覧いただきたいと思います。
人が笑顔で過ごし続けるためには誰かの助けが必要なこともあります。笑顔を支える仕事がしたい、誰かに助けが必要な時に力になりたい、社会医療法人ケイジン会。
SaskTel contributes nearly $3 million to approximately 1,000
はい。
nonprofits, charities,
カナ
associations,
ダ
and
の CM
events
に
in more
戻
than
ってまいり
200
ましたの
communities
で、
across Saskatchewan. So keep dancing, keep laughing, keep discovering, and we'll be there to help. To lend a
さあ
hand
先
and
ほど
join
の
in
エ
the
ンド
fun.
もすごかったです
SaskTel
ね。
cares. Always
非常に
has,
厳しい
always
状
will,
況でした
because
が、
we are
あ
dedicated
そこ
to
で
our
ラン
mission.
バッ
To
クを
apply
決
for
めて
sponsorship, visit
相手に1点取らせると
sastel.com/sponsorships.
いう形ができました。
Well, Riku Yanagisawa has
さ
been
あ
making
試合
big
の
shots
方は
all day long.
ここからま
Made another
た
big one in the third end. A run back double with his
進んでいき
final
ます。
stone to take away what
現
looked like
在
a
の
chance
スコ
for
アは3
at
対
least
1。
2 for Yannick Schwaller. He has to draw for one.
このエンドは
Still, that gives
SC
Schwaller a
軽井
3-1
沢
lead
ラ
as
ス
we
トロ
play
ッ
here
ク高校で
in the
の
fourth end. They bring the
エンド
first
にな
stone
り
in
ま
to
す。
bite the top of the forefoot. And now Kazumi being asked to throw the corner guard.
さあもう本当にね、柳沢選手のショットもかなり決まっています。もうずっとこの大会中ね、チャットでは
Corner guard thrown up.
10
And
万
now
20歳
Yannick
っていう
Schwaller
年
will
齢
ask
の
Pablo Lachat
設
to
定に
throw
なっておりますが、
towards the center. I think they're still playing the
そ
center
れぐら
guard
いの
here.
落ち着き度合い、そしてこのショ
A
ット
little
を
later
決め
on
て
in the
くれる
game,
安定
some
感、
teams will throw a
安心
second
感
one
があり
into
ま
the
す。
rings.
まあ、ただ、フォースだけがいいわけではなく
Guys
てです
obviously
ね、
have it
もう
figured
本当
out
にリード
what
か
they're
ら
going to
し
play. I
っ
didn't
かり
see
組
him
み立て
gesture.
ができているからこそ、この点差で、このレベルのチームと戦えてい
Looks
る
like
ん
they
じ
were
ゃないか
trying to
な
play
と
the
いうふう
guard.
に思いますん
Gonna
で、
stop in time just. Does not get dead lined up to the stone in the rings, however, and Yanagisawa now going to try to use their corner guard, play the come around. We have seen him
この
when
大会でお
rocks
そら
are
くです
dead
ね、
lined up, make a play on the two in the middle,
チーム
but
柳
he's
沢、
got
SC
access to
軽井
shot
沢
rock
の
right now.
認知度は上がったんじゃないですかね、カナダでね、ぐーんと。
Nice line coming around the guards. Just a question of how far back can you
さあ
get to
コ
get
ー
this
ナーガー
buried
ドの
now?
後ろに
Actually keeps it in
カ
front of
マ
the
ラン
tee
ド
line and still
決め
dead
てきま
buried.
した。
Boy, that moved
ナイ
hard
スショ
at
ッ
the end
ト。
towards the wing. Schwaller's first indication was to play the center guard. Might be some concern from the other three players. They'd
さあ
love
相
to be
手
able
チ
to
ーム
make
も
a
ちょっ
play on
と
that stone in the ring.
作
It's
戦
just
を
that
決
they're
め
still in
か
the
ねて
free
ます
guard
ね。
zone, and there's some risk associated with that. Play the guard, you make sure you're going to get something out of this stone. You know that sooner
はい、
or later,
通勤中の皆さん、お仕事も
Yanagisawa
始まっている皆さ
has
ん、
to make a play
お仕
on the
事
stones
頑
in
張っ
the
てくだ
middle.
さい。
And while he's busy
後
with
ほどアー
those,
カ
you
イブ
might
で
be
ぜ
able to
ひ
deal
チェッ
with the
クして
corner
いただけれ
yourself.
ばと思います。さあ、ここはやはりセンターに
Comes down, sits pretty much
置い
right
てき
beside
ま
the
した。
other tight center guard. Yanagisawa looking at playing the hit on the wider of the two guards. Play the hit and roll over. When your shooter rolls over, the stone you're making contact with might catch the one in the rings. At least
はい、チャットで風がすごくて、いろんなものが飛んでるので、皆さんお気をつけてっていうふうに書いてありますね。皆さんお気をつけください。まさかのその後に仕事を棒に振る覚悟です。それダメじゃないですかね。ぜひお仕事も頑張っていただいて、応援も頑張っていただければと思います。
And his shooter rolls over to the corner. It's Schwaller sitting two.
さあ、
Yanagisawa with last rock here in the fourth end.
センターにあったストーンから形を崩してきました。
Schwaller, you've got two rocks in the ring, sitting two, but neither one of them under cover, neither one of them in a position you'd really want it.
ただハウスの中にはワン、ツーとチームシュエラーのストーンが赤いストーンが入っています。3が、3時方向にある SC のストーンですかね。
All kinds of room by the guard. Trying to drag it back at the end, get as much buried as they can. Looks like they got just a little bit more than half behind cover.
しっかりとカマーランドをしてきました。はい、通勤列車の中でご覧いただいているということなので、そうですね、静かにぜひファイヤーしていただいて、急にね、大声出したりとかすると、みんな周りの人びっくりすると思いますんで、お気をつけください。さあ、ここは山本選手からどうでしょう、半分は見えているでしょうか、中心にあるストーン。
There's the indication he wants to move it just enough to be through the rings. Important to keep the shooter here. He wants perhaps to get shot rock out of the shooter, force Schwaller to have to play it.
柳沢選手の指示で言う
Of
と、
course, was he'd like to roll right in front of the other red stone
中
at the
央にあ
back.
るストーンを後ろに押し込むような形、それを狙っていくように当初指示がありましたが、どうも幅は狭くなりましたかね。
Takiro Yamamoto
コントロールして打ち出すという方向に変えたようです。
on the brush early here. Well, not going to get by, so they want to make sure they hit
が、
it
やは
hard
りここは、曲がりましたね。
enough to drive it through the rings.
まあ、前が空いたので、結果よしということなんじゃないで
Schwaller
しょう
sitting
か。
3 now. None of them behind cover. Gonna look to throw a guard on shot rock.
はい、山本選手がハック前でね、投げるストーンをこうくるくるっと回してましたけど、回転の仕方を見る限りではかなり氷滑ってるように見えますね。よく滑らないアイスのことをヘビーアイスというような表現をしますし、速いアイスのことをキーンなんていう表現をしますけれども、重いアイスでですね、ストーンくるくる回すと、あんなにほっといてくるくる回っているような状況にはならないと思いますので、相当軽やかに回ってましたから、滑ってるんじゃないかなというふうに思います。さあ、そんな話をしている間に、チームシエラはまたセンターにガードをハウスにバイターぐらいですかね、ストーンを置いてきました。
Lining it up to run it over the top and maybe get two of the rocks in the rings moving if you could. The other thing you might get off this, you're hitting it on the, looking at it from the overhead, if he's hitting it on the right side of the stone, shooter could come across, make contact with the two blues outside the rings, and you might squeeze
ここは
one of those
前
into
か
the
ら
12 foot.
山口選手、しっかりルーティーンをして、
So Yoshi
ハッ
Yamaguchi
クから出ました。
looking for the run through. On the guard, makes contact with the stone top 4. Might even have rubbed the one at the back, but doesn't move it very far. It's still Schwaller sitting 3.
一つ
Shooter
弾
didn't roll
い
very far
て、
either.
ハウスの中の状況は変わりましたね。T の後ろまで赤いストーンを押し込むことができました。
Guard shot stone, but there's a double available on the one at the side of the 8 foot. So looking at trying to tuck a corner around the blue corner guard.
はい、この大会通して意外と山口選手の半袖姿を見る機会は少ないという。
Of course, do not have mics on the players, and I confess that if you can hear the players through the ambient mics on the ice,
対
I
戦
don't
相
have
手も
access to
ね、
that audio
上着
either,
着て
so
ま
I'm
すも
not
んね、ずっ
sure what
と
they're。discussing here. See Schwartz looking at that's the double. We can't guard shot rock.
だ
He
いぶ
just
冷え
plays
て
this
るのか
double.
もしれません。
Going back to the initial call, which was to tuck a piece around the blue guard. You don't necessarily need to be dead buried here. You just want to choke off the guard, sit 4.
はい、出ました。山口選手。ボディーペインティング説。
Very good position to get the force.
高画質でもボディーペインティングか着てるかどうかがわからないということは、かなり精度の高いボディーペインティングしてますね。
If you can make Yanagisawa look at enough stones with his last one, you just never know. Slight miscue can turn into a steal.
さあ、チームシエラーのストーンは、
Nice line coming by that tight blue corner guard.
カムアラウンドしてきました。
Brings his shooter in, grabs a nibble of the forefoot, in behind cover. Boy, maybe even too far in behind cover now. Yanagisawa eyeing up the run back, and it's straight
はい、
enough run back that
も
he
う
might
ね、
even be able
み
to
ん
stay
な
in
チャッ
behind
ト
cover.
で言いたい放題でしたから、前の試合の時も。T シャツ忘れたんじゃないかとか、中裸なんじゃないかとか、そういういろいろ説が流れておりましたが。
It's one where you almost can't decide how good you made that shot until you see whether
さあ、
he
山
sticks
口
the run
選
back.
手、2投目、ここはしっかりと前からハウス
Yamaguchi
の中を
looking to
狙っ
drive
てい
it
ます。
straight back. It's going to be just a little bit on the high side. Clips 1, clips 2. Spins out the top of the house. Still leaves
形を
3
変え
Schwaller
ました。
stones. All biting the 8-foot. So now if Schwaller was to make a similar shot, get tucked in behind, the blue stones out front are overlapped. They might not have any kind of run back available.
一つテイクアウトは成功したんですが、ちょっとね、惜しいというような感じの表情でしょうか、山口選手。
Have to be a little bit careful here. You don't want to leave a stone in a position where Yanagisawa could freeze to it for shot rock. You know he's going to try to set up a deuce with his first stone.
さあ、シュワルツ選手は、これはまた入れてくるというような感じでしょう。
The fourth thrower is Benoit Schwartz. Looking to do what the skipper just did. Come in around the blue corners. Just a piece this time would be ideal. Got a lot more room coming into the house.
はい。相手にカムアラウンドさせないような形でセンターも塞ぎつつというようなところでしょうか。なおかつ、SC のストーンよりも内側に入ってますね、これね。なので今現在、ワン、ツー、スリー、4まであるのか。
Locks this on the corner and Schwartz tries to blast it out and ever happen to jam on that stone at the back 12. There might be a double left on the two reds at the top 8-foot. Long double, it'd be thin.
この辺がやはりね、世界で戦っているチームの
So if you could put a good freeze on here and leave yourself some angle where it might jam onto that red on the side,
なかなか 渋いところですね。
Guarantee that, Benoit Schwartz will just be able to blast this out.
さあ、柳沢選手の1投目。
Want to try to keep center line side if anything if you can, and that's just going to over curl a little bit, and that definitely allows him the chance to
ワンの
blast it out.
前につけてきました。
Nose hit works. You could play the big roll towards your own stone at the back. You just don't want to kill it and roll out, but if you roll right into it, you're still sitting 3, and then there won't be anything really to use as backing for a draw. Great weight on that last draw, just curled maybe 2/3 of a rock too much.
ここはこの SC のナンバーワンを打ち出してもまだなおかつシェーラーのチームは赤いストーンが8フットにかかっているものがありますので、
Does roll towards his own stone, sits right on top of it. Does sit 4.
ここはドローをしていくということになるでしょう。
Yanagisawa going to play the draw, same draw he just threw. Needs full 8 foot. Pick up his single. But it's still a draw against 4.
そうですね。このくるくるのことですね。
Those stones around the outside all pretty equal. This is either going to be a
少々お待ちくだ
a
さい。
single point or it's going to be a big steal. Brushers jump this one right out of his hand. Backing away now, so they feel the weight's close. Pretty close to the same line he had on the last one. They pick it up again at the hog line. Good judgment by the brushers. They
はい、
can
ドロー
bring that
は
stone
決まり
into
ま
the
した
top of the
ね。
8 foot. He does pick up his single point. Yannick Schwaller will take a 3-2 lead and last rock into the 5th end.
さあ、画質少し変えてみましたが、いかがでしょうか。
Imagine a place with endless possibilities. Imagine a place where people come together to build
あ、
families,
CM にいつの間にかなっているの
businesses,
で、
and
日本の
communities.
人が笑顔で過ごし続けるためには誰かの助けが必要なこともあります。笑顔を支える仕事がしたい、誰かに助けが必要な時に力になりたい、社会医療法人経営人会。
We asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
More speed.
さあ、日本の CM も終わって、カナダの CM に戻ってまいりました。
Better, faster. Sounds like one more G. Sounds pretty good.
I don't know what it means.
All you really need to know is the future of 5G is here and will continue improving through investments in network technology.
Sean Joyce here with you live from the Curling Stadium Martensville International. The men's final. Yannick Schwaller with a 3-2 lead over Riku Yanagisawa. As we begin play here in the 5th end, it is Schwaller with last rock. Yanagisawa looking for the center guard.
ともみさん、会社に到着ということで、無事到着、良かったです。お仕事頑張ってください。
Saw Schwaller in the 3rd end opt to come around the center guard. Looks like the call is going to be the same here in the 5th. Haven't laid a brush to this one so far. Wants to keep it in front of the tee line. Will stop just in front. Back edge of that stone might even be touching the tee line. Yanagisawa looking for another center guard now. A little tighter. In behind the long one. Well, gets another center guard, but still quite long. Overlaps the two of them. We're not going to be happy with that. That's a situation that allows Yannick Schwaller at the first opportunity to double peel. Those two go pretty easy. Still on the fourth stone to the end here. Can't do it yet, so going to come around again. This time right around to the top of the 8-foot in front of his first stone. This is a really good setup here early for the Schwaller team here in this fifth end.
はい、ちょっと一
Two
時音
guards
声止まっ
overlapped,
たかも
almost
しれま
touching
せん。
each other. It's a pretty easy double peel. Yanagisawa up there looking at, is there any way we can move these around a little bit, make it a little tougher at least?
さあ、引き続き試合を見ていきたいと思います。
Your other option is to just come right around
試
them.
合のスコア、今現在3対2で、シェーラー
Realize that
が
those two guards
リード。
are essentially
そ
only
して
one
な
guard.
お
They're
か
going to get
つ
peeled in
ラ
the
ス
next
トロッ
attempt.
クを持っています。先ほどのエンドは柳沢選手の安定感のあるドローで1点を取り返して3対2まで来ています。
So looking to follow that last stone down, maybe try to nudge it up a little bit, create a wall with the two reds.
今回は
Yamamoto
です
looks
ね、
like maybe
直
he
電で
felt
はなく、
something underneath the rock.
ちょっと一瞬離席させていただいておりました。
So a little bit more thorough job cleaning it up after you feel something there.
さあ、山本選手、ここからハックから出ました。
Really going to have to go to get by the
この
guard
大
now.
会、非常にショットも安定してき
Not
てい
going to
る
just rubs.
山本選手ですか。おっと、
Staying with it, they do get it
手
into the
前の
12 foot.
ガードに触れましたね、ストーンが。
There's a saving grace for Yanagisawa off that particular shot is that
ありがとうございま
now
す。
Yannick Schwaller probably can't play the double peel
寝落ちし
because
てるようにね、
it may
音
well
声が
drag
止ま
right
って
into
しま
the
い
two
ましたけ
stones in
ど、
the 4 foot.
こんなに素晴らしい試合を見せられていると、もう全然眠気が来ないという。
So looking to come around again.
さあ、シエラーのチームはこれまた
Touches their own
ガー
stone
ド
up,
を
bounces off a little bit.
越えてハウスの中に入れてきました。
Chance for Yamamoto to freeze in there.
さあ、もう一
Just
度
straight
山本
freezes
選
right
手。
now. I think he might be third. come down, nudge off the stone that was just thrown, and sit on the corner of the other one. It looks to be Schwaller sitting 3, but that blue stone is a problem, and there's no way to get rid of it in one attempt. And the scary thing is the lineup on the double peel. You see the indication we can't hit it on Benoit Schwartz coming down to take a
もう
look.
大
Can't hit
量
it
失
on the
点
right
を
side
し
as
な
the
いよう
thrower
に
looks at it, where it's going to drag back into the
相手のス
stones
ト
in the
ーンより
forefoot.
も自分たちのストーンを
So
多
he's
くハウ
looking
ス
at
の中
playing
心
the
に
double
どん
peel
どん
from the
固めて
open
いってし
side.
まおうという
Hard to get the
感
top
じ
one
なんです
all
か
the way on
ね。
the rings. He's just hoping to spin it off the center line.
あまりまとめ
The
てし
drag
まう
should
と
go the
一
other
発で
way,
出されてし
hitting
ま
it
うんじ
from
ゃない
that
かという
side.
懸念もあるんですけれども、
Still
ま
a
あた
chance
だ
to
ダ
get
ブルや
something
ト
in
リ
this
プルというのも
five
そう
rocks
そう、
there.
まあダブル
And
は
the
決ま
only
る可能
way to
性
get
もあ
it
る
through
かもし
without
れませ
touching
ん
anything
が、
would be if it went between
す
the
べてが
blue,
なくなるというの
the
はな
top
かなか
12 foot,
ない
and
と
the
思いま
red
すんで
sitting in the
ね、
8 foot. That's
こういった
looks
形に
like
な
a
ってき
skinny
てるんだ
port.
と思います。そして何かあった時のために、やはり後攻を持っ
That's what
ている
Schwaller's
シェ
talking
ラー
about. He could still
としては、
come off
セン
that
ター
stone
ガー
and,
ドを
and
外し
in.
ていきたい、
I guess if you were just worried about
そんな
peeling
とこ
one,
ろ
you
なんじ
could
ゃない
just
かと思いま
try
す
to
ね。
pick the back one. You'd hate to flirt with going by it, though. Back to his initial call, gonna play the peel from the
そう
open
ですね、
side.
確かにチャットでおっしゃる通
You
り、
know that the
ハウスの中に入らないと点数
stone
には
that's
なら
being
ないです
dragged
から
shouldn't
ね。
go back into the 4 and the 4 foot. Hard to say how far the other one will go off the line. Didn't get much drag there at all. He hit it
さあ、
fairly
まず
close to the
は
line,
セ
which
ンターの一つ
at
を
least
崩
allows
して
him
いき
to
ま
put
し
it
た。
through the hole. Yanagisawa took a bit of a spill there catching the rock. I don't think he expected it to go through the hole. I think he was expecting to catch it off something else. Says he's
こ
okay.
こはもう、こ
Up
の
and looking at
折り
what he's
重な
got
っ
to
てい
throw at
る
here.
赤をどうにかするには、少しずつここをまた押し込んでいく必要があると思います。もしくは、減らしていく。あまり極端に減らしてしまうと、今度はただ相手に弾き出されるだけという形になりますんで、できれば少しずつずらしてっていう形がいいのかなというふうに見えますが。
Good to hit that blue right on the nose, make the double on the two reds, and you could still sit lined up blue onto the red that shot rock. That ice,
は
I
い、
don't
間
think
も
he's
な
looking to
く
throw very hard
今
at
8
this.
時54
Maybe
分
just
9
trying
時
to
を
jiggle
前
some
なん
things
です
around
が、
and
9時
put the
前
red
ですけ
stone
れども、
behind the tee
150
line.
人の皆さんにご視聴いただいて
And
ます。
leave
あ
the
りがとう
blue
ございます。
lined up into the reds.
スコアは3対2。今、SC 軽井沢先行で戦っています。山口選手のショット。
Yamaguchi looking for the tap. Blue onto red behind the tee line ideally. This is really curling early. Might have got this going. Gonna have to go to get by the guard. It's just by the blue stone in the rings as well. Moves the red over a little bit, but his shooter rolls out into the
思っ
open.
たよりもだいぶ曲がりましたかね。そし
Schwaller
てチ
sitting
ップ
two.
して山口選手の投げたショットは開きました。
Perhaps a little bit fortunate there for Yanagisawa that when they moved that red stone, they still left the pocket. So their blue stone at the top of the 8 foot, still a difficult stone for Schwaller to do anything with.
さあ、今からご
ご
参加ありがとうございます。おはようございます。さあ、マーテンスビルメジャー決勝。5エンドを3対2。チームシエラーが3点。チーム柳沢、SC 軽井沢が2点という形で今進んでいます。
Yanagisawa, in order to get shot rock, would either have to blast it or he needs to bump it twice.
さあ、チームシエラーはこれ、先ほどの山口選手の投げた開いてしまったストーンを打って軽く中にロールでしょうか。
Yanagisawa does make some kind of tap up, you could still use this stone.
思ったほど曲がらずそのままステイ、ちょっと外にロールするような形で残りました。
Yanagisawa looking to come off that stone into the red at the top of the forefoot.
そうですね、先ほどからシエラはもうどんどん中に入れてくるというような戦術をとっています。さあ、ただ SC 軽井沢としては、その先ほどステイしたストーンではなくて、今まで攻めてきた方向から押し込んでいくことを考えているようです。
Questions coming from the other end. I think part of the question here is how far do you want to tap this? Because with the stagger that's on them now, you could create a path to get that blue out if you tap this too hard now.
さあ、もう一度、今度はちょっとウェイトを乗せて崩しに来たか。はい、ちょっと形が変わってきました。
And it's still Schwaller sitting 2. Maybe now has a chance to get that blue stone out. I saw him indicate he could come off his own stone at the top of the 8-foot, take that one out the side.
さあ、今度はチームシエラの方ですが、
I don't think that's a shot they're looking at playing. I think that's the one they're worried about leaving.
どうでしょう、当初1時ぐらいにあった自分のストーンを使ってヒットロールして青を動かすっていうのも、今も言ってますね。それか直接青を打ちに行くっていうのもどうかというようなことを話を出ていましたが、
It's thinner than you think. When they make contact with the red stone, there's still a rock's width in front of that blue. You want to come more into the side of it if you can. You can actually hit this fairly thin.
さあ、
probably about a third of a rock. Come dead into the side of that rock, push it straight sideways, and have your shooter
ここ
stay
で
right there.
シェーラー選手の一投です。
Had the brush on early now, already switching sides,
と
try
し
to get some
て
extra curl. He's going to be pretty thick on the first one, comes across, just nudges it.
青いストー
Probably
ンを
enough to
取り
take
囲
away
む
any
よう
kind
に
of
赤いストーン
freeze
が
into the
4
pocket, but
つ
it's still Schwaller
ボ
only
タン
sitting
を
2
守る
right
ように
now.
並んでしまっています。
Yanagisawa looking at the blue-red combination just to tap it back forefoot. Still needs to have something protecting it from the back.
さあ、この局面
Could always
は
blast that and kill the red stone. The
チーム
problem
メン
is
バー
then there's
全員
room to pick
で
out the blue stone for 3.
ショットの確認をしています。
Probably looking to come down,
このエン
tap
ド
the
は相手がラストロッ
blue-red
クも持ってます
combination,
から
move that red
ね。
to the back 4, maybe into the back 8 foot, and then ideally you leave the blue combination
ここで
lined up
大
to the
量失
shot
点
stone.
をしてしまうとちょっと厳しい。そうですね。今
Not
チ
a
ャッ
great
トの方
situation
に
here for
準決
Yanagisawa
勝の
looking
時
to
みたい
salvage
な明る
something.
い表情をもっと欲しいというところがコメントでチャ
Needs
ット
to
の
give
方に入
himself
っ
a
て
way
お
to
り
get
ま
in
す
for
が、
shot rock.
さあ
Try to take away this
外
end, but
側
at the same
か
time
ら
it doesn't want to leave a chance for Benoit Schwartz to be able to remove his stone. Makes the little tap and probably did move it just a little bit too far. There's room now to make the double.
赤を押し
Either
込む
moved
と
it a little bit too
T
far or
の
didn't
後
get
ろまで押し込む
close
というよう
enough to
な
the nose because he left
ショッ
the
トになって
angle
い
where
る
the two
なっ
blues
てい
can
ま
both
す。
fly.
少しずつですけれども、赤いストーンの前に青いストーンが溜まってはきてますんでね。
Yanagisawa is going to have a shot at the hit and roll off shot rock after this is made.
そういったところでは
May elect to just
状
freeze
況
when he's
は
playing
少
against
しずつ
4.
ですけれども変わってきているというところだと思います。さあ、そ
Do
し
think
て
Schwartz
こ
started
の
to
状
make sure he's
況
got the
で
double and clears the reds. He's got to hit this a
チー
little
ム
on
シ
the
ュエ
outside,
ラ
so his shooter's
ー、シュワ
probably
ルツ選
rolling
手
out.
は青
Maybe not
を
all the way out
打
of the
ってい
rings,
き
but
ます。
towards the outside. Got big weight.
ナイスショッ
Makes the hit
ト。
perhaps a little thicker on the first one than he would have liked. Clips one of his own on the way by, but his shooter does stay. So sitting 4.
うまく出されてしまい
Probably
まし
makes any
た。
thought of the freeze unlikely. There's no pocket there now.
ここは厳しい状況が続いています。チーム柳沢 SC 軽井沢男子。
Might be looking to just chisel in off that shot stone, come down heavy draw, get it to the inside of it, move it back a little bit, and have your shooter roll to the back of the button. I think with that ice, that's what he's looking at. Might not necessarily be playing to kill this stone. He could.
柳沢選手、
This is all about where you
山
roll
口選
to,
手
though.
とのショットの打ち合わせができて、ハックの方へ戻っていきます。この幅だとフリーズではなく、ヒットして軽くロールでセンターの方に。
This young man has made big shot after big shot all day. Looking for another one here, facing 4 without last rock. Needs to find a way to get in under cover. Coming off the Schwaller stone. Makes the tap. Shooter comes in, sits half the button. Didn't get the stone out the back, but Schwaller at the most sitting 3 right now, and I don't know if he's got a direct path into that. The question is, do you play the double
ここは
for 5? It's thin, it's
き
definitely
っ
there.
ちりと決めてきましたね。本当に頼もしいスキッ
It's a
プ
more natural angle if you could play it off your own,
コー
but
スを
you
投
can
げ
just
ています
barely
柳
see
沢
enough
選
of your
手。
own stone to make it. There's a good look at the stone at the back. It did stay for what is 5th shot right now, so even if you're coming off your own here, this is a shot for 4. I think they may be opting to come off their own. The angle's a little more natural. You're looking for something just a shade under half, which you can see that much. The other one is
さあ
so thin,
今
those
度
are
はシュワルツ
really
選
hard to
手、
call.
十字方向にあ
Pressure's on
る
right away.
自らのストーンを
He
使っ
is playing it
て
off the top one, makes the contact, comes across, makes contact with
ワ
the
ンを
second
打
one,
ち
but
に来
then
た。
stuffs it on the rock at the back. And it looks like it's a steal of 1 for Yanagisawa. Dodges a bullet here in the 5th end. Could have been a score of as much as 5. As turns out, it's a steal of 1. We're all tied up after 5 ends of play.
はい。
We asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5.
人が笑顔で過ごし続けるためには、誰かの助けが必要なこともあります。笑顔を支える仕事がしたい。誰かに助けが必要な時に力になりたい。社会医療法人敬人会。
Is here and will continue improving through investments in network technology.
さあ、また日本の CM、敬人会さんの CM を見ていただきましたが、もうこのずっと大会中、ヒリヒリするという言葉が本当にぴったりだと思います。
After dodging a bullet there in that 5th end. Calling for the center guard. got this one up high. Schwaller.
先ほどのエンドは
just a whisker away from perhaps ending this game in 5.
柳沢選手の見事なヒットロールか
That
ら
first stone any thinner, he comes more into the side of the second one and pushes it across the back one as it is with the jam. It's a steal of one. We're tied up. Schwaller still with last rock here. And playing in the even ends.
シュワルツ選手のチャレンジがありましたけれども、1点取って3対3とスチールしました。さあ、非常に厳しい状況からこの同点スチールを勝ち取っています。
With the 7-1 victory over Silvana Tiranzoni. So we're jumping over and joining you on the call here.
All right, glad to have you. I feel a little silly talking to myself all the time.
この1点差または同点というような形で試合が進んでいくということは、やはりこれ非常にいいショット、いい試合を進めているということで間違いないと思います。まだまだこれからなので、ぜひ皆さん、今現在194名の方がご視聴いただいているようです。ありがとうございます。ぜひここをチャットで皆さん SC 軽井沢のことを応援していきましょう。
I might be joining you in the lounge. As it is, though, tied up. Schwaller still with last rock. Already one miscue just as you were joining me. The Yanagisawa team playing the second guard hogged it. So Schwaller's had a chance to use his corner guard already, and there's only the one high center guard to deal with. This is the fifth rock of the end, and they'll be able to start peeling after that.
さあ、後攻を持っているシエラ選手たち、チームシエラはやはりコーナーガードを置いて、その後ろにストーンを配置してくる形。先行 SC 軽井沢はセンターガードでカムアラウンドをしてきています。今のところナンバーワンは、赤いストーン、シエラのチームのストーンのように、この天井カメラを見る限りは見えますね。
One of the other four teams that made the playoffs in the preliminary round. So you can't say they got in here by having a soft schedule. Everybody they played made the playoffs.
センターのガードを外されましたので、またここは同じくガードを作っていくようになります。
Yeah, for Canadians and Americans, maybe the more familiar name on that team is their third rock thrower, Tsuyoshi Yamaguchi. Tsuyoshi's been around the block in international curling a lot, played in a couple Olympic games with his former skip, Yusuke Morozumi. He's also very active on Twitter, commenting.
さあ、スイープしてコントロールしてきました。ちょっとずれたガードという形でできましたね。
From that side, you might be able to roll over towards your corner guard as well.
Well, that would certainly be good with that blue guard where it is. Not only not on the center, but up fairly high, and we've seen that you can dig out a lot of stones that appear to be buried when the guards end up that high.
さあ、少しでも見えていればそれを打ってコーナーガードの方へ持ってきています。この辺りはやはり
Given that the guard situations
世
you're just
界
talking
の
about
トッ
not
プレ
great
ベ
in the
ル。
center, you might want to take care of these two red stones on the corner while you have the chance. We have seen this team. They've got the ability to throw some big weight when they want to do it too. You could actually play the double
さ
and
あ、
try
こ
to
の
get
まま
that
放置
5
して
foot
しま
roll
い
in
ます
behind
と、
cover.
今までの試合の中でもありましたけれども、ハウスの中に相手チームのストーンが結構多く残っているっていう状況が起きますの
You
で、
certainly can throw it
こ
hard
のあ
enough
たり
to
柳沢
play
選
a
手
shot
は
like that where you hit just off the nose and still get a
ヒッ
5 foot
トロー
roll.
ルを山口選手
That would
に
certainly be a
指
bit
示
of
し
a
てい
hit
ます。
against the Schwaller team. They looked like they had something pretty nicely set up with that one behind the guard. Tried to maybe get a little bit greedy to roll their own shot. This one, well, they do get it by just to get
これ
rid
は
of
ち
the
ょっと
one, but
外の
definitely
方
had an
へ
opportunity there to take it away from
シ
Team
ューター
Schwaller.
がロールアウトしてい
Probably
ってし
caught
ま
them
い
a
ま
little
し
bit
た。
by surprise there. You don't
まあ
expect
ただ一
that
つ
kind
出
of
しま
weight
したん
to
でね。
curl that much. Now we don't know whether he maybe was pinched tight on the release. Don't imagine they expected to over curl. Threw that plenty hard.
It's interesting to see both Swiss teams in the finals on the men's and the women's side, the individual calling the game, the skip throwing third stones. In this case, Yannick Schwaller, Benoit Schwartz throwing those fourth stones.
Schwartz has been a fourth rock thrower for a long time now. He was throwing the fourth rocks when he was playing with Peter de Cruz as well. De Cruz was skipping, but I believe for most of that run playing second stones.
Yeah, and it sounds like the new Rachel
さあ、そ
Holman
して
Tracy Fleury team is going to
対する
use
シェ
that
ラー
setup
は
as well, at least in the first part of the season, see how that goes.
右
I
側
believe
から
Tracy Fleury
回り
will
込ん
call
で
the
く
game
る
and
ショッ
throw
ト。
third stones, and Rachel Holman will throw the last ones, if I'm not mistaken.
I think that's what I heard.
Yep, that's correct. That'll be an interesting lineup. Of course, Tracy coming off possibly the season of her life where she was maybe the #1 team in the world for a long, long time and just sort of faltered in that Olympic trials final and unfortunately got COVID just before the Scotties and they weren't able to perform there, splitting up.
はい
So she comes on
こ
to
の
an
あたり
already,
は
of
しっ
course,
かり
very
と
strong Rachel
8
Holman
フッ
team,
トに
and
かかるよう
I'm
に
sure they'll find success pretty quickly.
ドローを決めてきました。
Yannick Schwaller brings that draw into the back of the 8 foot. I don't think they were trying to get anywhere near the guard, just trying to put a rock in a position where it's tough for Yanagisawa to do anything with it. He could play the hit and roll behind cover off that, but he'd be so far back, as we've already talked about. You can get to a rock like that and get it out, keep your shooter. He's got the house well split right now, looking to get his deuce.
さあ、左右に一つずつストーンが入ってますが、一つはコーナーガードに隠れているストーン。これをヒットロールしてセンターに持ってきたいというようなことを柳沢選手言ってると思いますね。
This Japanese squad is very deliberate. They do talk about things a lot. I've thought about it a few times and then had to correct myself, or really just stop myself from saying it. I wish I had mics so that I knew what they were saying, and then it occurs to me that I wouldn't know what they were saying if I did have mics. So, but there is a lot of communication coming back and forth. They do talk everything out.
Well, I was making that observation. I was following along with the men's game on my second screen here, and you guys, we started at it just about the same time, and by the end there, you were almost a full end behind. So I figured there must be quite a bit of discussion going on over here.
This is about the fourth game that I've covered the Japanese team, and I have noticed that they are very deliberate. Now, in the preliminary round, when there were 4 sheets going, a lot of times the players would come down. This is the only game left on the ice, so they can do it from T-line to hack. They don't have to come down. They can hear each other. But they do make sure they communicate. 4 shots like this, everybody's got to be on the same page. It is a bit of a new lineup. Skip and third have switched positions this year, and they've got a new player in at second.
Yeah, no time clocks at this tournament and in most tour events, but I believe this is the team that will be heading to the Pan-Continental Curling Championships, and at World Curling Federation events there will be time clocks, so it is something to work on as this season progresses. Those Pan-Continentals will start at the end of October.
さあ、ここのショットはどうでしょうか。
In Calgary, Winsport Arena.
And that's the first year for that event, the first time that Canada will
しっかりと伸ばしていきたいところではあります。センターにガードを置きました。
Yeah, there's going to be an A and a B division. It's modeled after the European Championships, a combination of the Americas zone and the Pacific Asia Africa zone. So you'll see teams like Korea, Japan, China, Canada, United States. They're the big five that's going to be in the A division.
そしてチームシエラー、サードのシエラー選手はこれも後攻を持ってますんでね、しっかりと今置かれた真ん中のストーンを打っていきます。
Gets rid of that little hanger around at the back too. I don't think even if you jammed onto it dead, I don't think it was going to be biting the rings.
I was wondering whether they should corner freeze on the rock behind the corner guard, but unfortunately you're not even shot rock if you do that.
No, yeah, you'd be second, and Schwaller would just split the rings again, and he's content to take two here. We're down to skip stones. the center guard again.
さあ、ここで今、柳沢選手、山口選手とこれからのショットがどっちがいいかということで話し合いをして、チームメイトにも聞いてますね。コーナーガードの後ろの赤いストーンの方に行くか、もしくは反対側にあるナンバーワンのショットのところにつけに行くか。
Yeah, I'd like to know how you plan to do that. Really, I guess if he wants to cut him down, he's got the same shot. He can play the same shot they just tried. Get a tight center guard around the longer one. You know that they're not going to be able to peel the tight one if you do that, and you've got something to go around. But if you're playing with giving up 3 or you do that, perhaps even 4.
スコアとしては3対3。
I'm a little surprised that he's going after this rock.
Yeah, I mean,
you rub the guard coming by, and it's 3.
And we've already seen them overcurl on a shot in this spot when they were trying to make that big weight double and missed it on the inside.
Well, and it's not like you're setting up a steal or a force by playing this rock. You know, you're still giving up 2.
さあ、柳沢選手のショットです。
By playing the one that you can see.
There's not going to be any doubles. It's not like you're trying to group the stones. Yeah, it's a little bit tricky. That being said, you know, if you don't like the shot, suggest a better one. I'm not really
はい、ガードの後ろにありました相手チームのストーンを弾き出しました。フィールになりましたね。
Right.
If you're trying to force or steal, you need to throw the second guard. I just think he threw the hardest shot he could find, and it wasn't going to get him.
Now, timeouts are allowed in this tournament. We've seen some teams, especially international ones, who have a coach here, call timeouts. I know Bob Ursel is coaching this Japanese squad. Have they used the timeout yet this game?
They haven't in this game. I have seen them use. This is the 4th game where I've
はい、チャットの方でね、今、ナンバーワンの方にくっつけていったらどうなのっていうコメントがありましたけれども、そうですね、どちらかを考えてましたよね。で、なんかガードの後ろに入っていて、嫌なところにある 2の方を打ちに行きました。
Well, I think some of these international teams, when they come to Canada and compete for the first time in
さあ
September,
そし
October,
て
they're surprised at how warm it is.
チームシュエラーのシュワルツ選手は
We're not always
ま
the
た
great white
その
north,
弾き出された
just
もの
too
を
short of a summer season.
沖に行っています。
Putting that stone back in almost the exact same place, sitting 2. So now they're going to try to make a play on the
し
open
っか
stone
り
and
と左右に
perhaps
展
roll to the
開し
back of
て
the 8-foot. At least try to make it a little bit more difficult for Benoit Schwartz to
ダ
make
ブルテイ
a
クアウト
hit
を防ぐと
for 2.
いうことをしています。さあ今度はナンバーワンの方を打ち出しに行くということのようです。
Yanagisawa is final stone here in the 6th end. A tie game. Without last rock, facing 2, looking for the hit and roll. Leaping to hold the line this time, makes the hit. This one's going to roll just a little bit too far as well. It'll be a chance for Benoit Schwartz throwing the forced
ヒッ
stones
ト
from
して
Schwaller
ロー
to
ルまでは行き
draw
ました
any
が
piece
ピ
of the
ールアウ
rings to
ト。
pick up his deuce here. Looks like they're going to opt to play a similar shot to the one he just threw. You've seen this a little bit more as the event wore on. A lot of times when a skip's got a chance for the free draw to score like this, he'll throw to the wider part of the rings, come right into the button area. You got 12 feet from the front to the back, but the paths have been a little bit different here, especially for the last couple of days. So if you just threw one on the first
さあこ
attempt,
こでシュワルツ選手
I've
は
seen a number of skips that are more
ま
inclined to
た
throw the
同じ
exact
とこ
same
ろに
shot on the second one, just because you know the path.
ドローをして
Brings
き
it
ま
right
し
down to
た。
the tee
2
line,
点。
corner of the 8-foot. Does pick up his 2 points, so Schwaller with a 5-3 advantage after 6 ends of play. Yanagisawa will have last rock in the 7th.
SaskTel Be Kind Online wants to stop cyberbullying. Want in on the action? You can get a grant to
さあ
help.
じゃあま
We
た
award up to
CM は日本
$1,000.
の
人が笑顔で過ごし続けるためには誰かの助けが必要なこともあります。笑顔を支える仕事がしたい、誰かに助けが必要な時に力になりたい、社会医療法人敬人会。
Schwaller forced him after taking 2 in 6. Not wanting the center guard here, so Schwaller himself comes out to help sweep, but he's got lots of weight there, brings that into the top of the 8-foot. See, Yanagisawa now will call for the corner guard.
さあ
Well, Sean and
試
Matt,
合
it's
は
been an amazing week here in Martensville. Great crowds in the studio, great viewership on all the online
5対
streams.
3と
Of course, curling
い
zone,
う形
curling
で
zone
ス
and
コア
curling stadium making all of that possible.
2点差でラストロックを持った状態
I've
になり
certainly
まし
enjoyed
た。
calling the games with you, Sean, as well as Matt over the last number of days. Sad to see it coming to an end here, but possibly an exciting end to this game.
Yeah, and just a big thank you to the crews running all the tech for us. I mean, we just get to sit here and talk for a couple hours a day, which is kind of nice, but
こ
they're
こ
the
で
ones
小泉
doing all
選
the
手し
heavy
っかり
lifting in the
コーナー
background,
ガー
making
ドを
sure
決
that
めてい
everything
ます。
comes to everyone watching at home. So thank you to them. I believe the next curling stadium event is just next weekend, one province over in Alberta.
Yeah, it's the Curling Stadium Alberta Series, second leg in Leduc. they'll have a couple more within that series over the course of the next few months.
And that's no slouch of an event either. Some big names, of course, teams we saw this weekend, such as Michael Brunner, Kyler Kleibrink, Mike McEwen, this Yannick Schwaller team, but some new
さ
big
あ、ここ
names
で
as
ま
well.
た
Teams like Tanner Horgan
スイス
debuting
の
his
シエ
new
ラ、チ
squad.
ームシエラは
Aaron
ハウスの中に
Slichinsky, who
ど
I
んどん
believe
と入れ
won
てきました。
the first curling stadium event last weekend, or the Alberta Curling Series event, excuse me. Yanagisawa is in that event, and some other big names as well. So that'll be one that you'll want to tune in to next weekend for sure if you want to catch some great curling games.
はい、まだ試合は
Well, Matt, you're a
続
former
いています。
Canadian World
ぜ
Junior
ひ
champion.
皆さん、チャットから
Sean, I know you played on the tour a number of years
チーム
ago. I
柳沢
could
SC
throw a
軽
couple
井
of
沢
rocks
を
at
応
Lee.
援しま
Maybe
し
they
ょう。
should give an invitation to the commentators to
今
enter
9
one
時
of these
半を
curling
過ぎた
stadium
ところ
events.
で
We can call our own games while we're on the ice.
199名
Oh, I think my days of doing that are past.
ご
I
覧
actually
いただいて
played
いる
in,
ようで
in a
す。
doubles event in Martensville
あ
in
りが
this
とうござい
exact
ま
venue
す。
at the start of the year last year. And it was one of the first ones. It's actually the one where they mounted the cameras and they were putting them up. And I still insist to this day, and Jerry Gertz will argue with me, but I don't think the cameras were working that well because I think they were wide. I think the cameras should have been set to narrow everything up. I looked, the cameras looked like they were adding about 20 pounds at least, and there had to be 8 cameras out there.
さあ、炎
Well, I
が
think
チャット
to
の
pay the crew a
と
little
ころ
bit
で
of
は
money,
溢れてきてい
buy
ま
them a
す。
few beverages. They
こ
might
の
be able to
熱い
do
思い
something
が
about it. I might look like a stick though, so I'm not sure I'm in
マーテンスビル
favor
にい
of
る
that completely.
SC 軽井
But
沢チーム
if
柳
you're
沢
on a
に
sweep,
届
that's
くこ
okay.
と
The
を
Swiss model works really well.
願いながら
Take the broom. We can do the
試
sweeping.
合を見ていきたいと思います。
Well, anything's better than the doubles. I had to jump up and sweep my own rocks a few times.
You just got to pick your doubles partners wisely.
Well, I picked one that was the same age as me. That might not have been a good idea.
There's your problem.
And you know, if we get producer Jerry as our fourth thrower, you know you're going to get a good draw schedule out of it too. So
No
Jerry
8
was
a.m.
actually-
morning games, please.
Jerry was actually playing in that doubles event as well. We didn't come up against each other.
おついに
I will tell you, one of us made the final, and it
視
wasn't
聴
him.
者数も200名を超えていただいたようで
just
す。
rubbing salt in the wound there,
ありが
Sean.
とうございま
I
す。
may as
朝
well,
の
eh?
9時半から皆さんご視聴
Let
いた
us
だ
know
きあ
if
りが
you're
とうござい
invited
ます。
back next weekend to
マー
continue.
テンスビル
I haven't seen the email.
決
Yanagisawa
勝
is
です。
continuing to put some pressure on Yanagisawa here as we play in the 7th end. He's got the 2-point lead.
いやいや、
First
あ
two
の
rocks
チ
into
ャ
the
ットで
rings. Of
今
course, he
めちゃ
expected
くちゃ
Yanagisawa to
炎
ignore
を
that play the
送っ
corner,
てい
but
た
now
だ
a
いて
good
ますが
guard.
これはきっと届いてると思いますよ皆さん。
Top 4, back 4. Yanagisawa wanting to move something, but he doesn't really want to start hitting things because he doesn't want to see the end disappear on him. So thinking with that broom, maybe just a quiet tap.
さあ
And really, he probably won't be heartbroken if this
山
rubs
本
the
健
guard on the
選
way
手の
by.
ショットです。
Might be able to get the shooter into the rings as well that way.
Yeah, as long as you're very deliberate about your weight selection, something where, yeah, you can touch the guard and still spin into the rings. Probably just a nice, easy hack.
さあ
You
こ
don't
こ
want
ま
to
で試合
overthrow.
も連続していますが
This is,
スイー
I've
プ
got a
シ
bit
ョ
of
ッ
an
トとも
advantage. As I
に
said, it's my 4th game covering these guys, so I've seen them play these types of shots before. Now this one looked like, to me, he might have come over the top a little bit. This is going absolutely sideways on him.
しっかりと決めてきている山本選手。
Not his typical release. Does move the stone out
ち
from
ょっ
covering
と
shot
曲がっ
rock.
て
And
センターのストーンに当たってか
so not
ら
all bad.
コーナーガードの位置まで行きました。
Although you're going to see probably Schwaller throw up another guard here, and with that red stone moving to the center line, you won't really have access to those shot stones anymore. You may be forced to play some kind of come around draw.
You might, but if you're Yanagisawa right now,
さあそこをま
as
た
long as
さら
you
に
kept Schwaller from peeling the rocks on the corner, you might
シェラーは
You've
セ
got
ン
something
ター
to
に
work with at least.
ひ
You're
た
2
す
points
らス
down
トー
here.
ンを置いてきます。
Afford to have him peeling out too early. keeping rocks in play can only help you. Looking for that last little bit of curl here. He does want to cover that shot rock. Comes up just enough to get dead buried.
さあ、ここからです。
Yanagisawa now looking to play the tighter guard on a bit of an angle in towards
厳
shot
しい条
stone.
件でもスチールを重ね
Doesn't
て
necessarily need
追
to
いついてき
absolutely
た
kill
こ
both
の
of them.
チー
Would
ム。
like to get the one off the top of the forefoot. That one at the back of the forefoot really isn't bothering him.
山本選手2投目。
Probably would like to keep the shooter in play here, and this one over curling as well. Catches the top one, comes
前の
across,
ガードに当て
removes his
て
own stone from the
開
top
き
of
ま
the
した。
12 foot. The shooter stays, but it's exposed now. Third stones, Schwaller going to play the guard again.
さあ、このあたり、
So, although
ちょ
that
っと
kind of
ね、
looks like quite a bit of ice. Have you been seeing that much
間
curl
を
so
取
far
っ
this
て
game?
投げ
That's
てい
pretty
くと
close to
か
what、they've
そう
been
いった
taking. And of
形の
course, even when it's, you know, it
試
has
合の
straightened
展
out a
開
bit in the
も
last
して
couple
い
of
くことも
days,
必要かもしれ
but
ま
there's
せん。
still plenty
相
of
手は
curl.
ね、どんどん
We
どん
did
どん
see
投
on
げ
the
てきます
last
んで、
one,
そのペースにはまって、
in the last,
投げていっ
you know,
てし
10
まう
feet, it still
と
crossed the
巻き
center
込まれ
line
て
and,
しまう
and
可能
got
性
the
もあり
dead
ますん
cover.
で
There's still
ね。
some late movement on this particular spot. Have switched
試合
already,
も
looking
後
for
半にな
a
って
little
きま
more
したん
curl.
で、氷のコンディションもだいぶ変わ
Across
って
the
きて
center
いるん
line.
でしょ
Question of whether or not it's going to slide far enough to get there. Had to bring it a little tighter to bury this time, but does cover the shot stone. Yanagisawa already has the broom down. They've decided it's time to come around.
Well, this is a critical shot right here.
う。さあ、ここで柳沢選手は外から中へ回り込むショットを山口選手に要求したようです。
Not sure this is going to get by the red. It's going to be tight. Oh, and it will just rub coming by. Shooter comes over. Sits cornered on his own. He does have second and or third
手
and fourth,
前
pardon
の
me.
ストーンにチップしてしまいましたが、
Schwaller probably can't play the double on them though. It probably comes right into the red stone at the top of the 12 or top of the 8.
I think so, but if you ever could draw, just sort of bite forefoot with the intern, there's not an easy way for Yanagisawa to come in there. He may have to end up tapping and playing that
手
little
前の
bump
ス
and
トー
roll
ンにチッ
himself
プするという
just
よ
to
うな
get
ショ
to
ッ
the
トが
forefoot.
多く見られるようになってきているかもしれま
Love
せ
to be
ん。
able to hit those two stones when you're Schwaller, you're up 2. You hate to leave them hanging around, but it's just not safe. You do have a good situation in the middle right now. Continue to put the pressure on here.
さあ、チャットの方では炎では足りずダイナマイトが投入されています。さらにシエラのチームはハウスの中へ中へと狙ってきている。だいぶ曲がりが大きくなっているようです、先ほどより。
Now for Yanagisawa, you might have to play the angle tap on the blue. You can hit it on the nose, bring it in off your own stone, and leave the shooter in a position where you'd still have another tap. That might be your only way to get two.
Sa今Yanagisawa選手は
Can't tell for sure if they're talking
一
about
時方向にある青い
tap
ス
the
ト
red
ー
rock,
ン
or are
の
they
とこ
looking
ろ
at
を
perhaps playing it with
ブ
weight
ラ
and
シ
try
で
to
指し示しています。
kill the red stone at the top of the forefoot? There's a little bit of danger there because you can't guarantee exactly how that stone's going to come off.
Yeah, it looks pretty close to that. It should be somewhere close to at least that back red, but there is a hole there that you need to be careful. If it ever springs right
さあ
through,
山
you're
口
in a
選
lot of
手、
trouble.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought they might
こ
just
こ
play
で
with
ファイヤーしてもらいたい。
well, draw weight, but when you're coming off your own, you probably have to throw almost half of your hand. Wants to be close to the nose here. Makes the nose hit, brings the blue across, spins to the back forefoot and ends up corner frozen on the stone at the back, and left his shooter in a position where he does have access to the angle tap. That's about as good as you could do with that shot. And suddenly, Schwaller's not in as good a shape. Guard the blue now? I think that's what they're looking at.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Team Schwaller, you're really not all that worried about giving up a 2 at the end of the day. You'll be tied with the hammer in the last end. What you really need to avoid is giving up a 3. And I
さあ
think
今
the
度
only
は
reason, the only
SC
way that
が
really
素晴
comes
らし
into
いショ
play
ッ
is
トを
if
決
you
めてき
allow
ま
him
したん
to
で
play that tap twice. Even if you make this
セン
guard
タ
really
ーが
good, there's
固ま
no
っている状
easy
態
way to
で
get another blue stone in there
シ
for
ュワル
second
ツ選
shot.
手は厳しいシ
You
ョッ
might
ト
be
を
able to play the wide out turn and grab the side
狙
of
っ
the
ていかな
forefoot,
ければい
but
けない。
that's no gimme.
Well, and even if you did, that's the kind of shot I think you can't really play it until your last one. If you played it earlier than that, you might leave a slash double.
That looks like it'll do the job. Now what do you do if you're Yanagisawa? I mean, the only way I see to get another rock in there is you probably have both wide blue corners that you could tap in, or the draw, but like you said, the draw you kind of want to
1
leave
は
to your last
SC
one,
の
and
青で
neither
す
of those
が
corners are
2、
all
3
that
と
easy either.
スイスシェーラーの赤いストーンが前後に並びます。
Here's the other side of it, though. If you leave the draw to the last one, and I still think ideally you'd like to, but if you leave the draw to the last one, Benoit Schwartz might just guard it.
Yeah. And then what do you do? And really, like, you
almost
want to make sure you get 2 here. You can think about stealing 1 and try and steal the 8th, but if you only get 1 here, you have to steal the 8th and the extra, and that's a big ask.
Even if you make the tap now, you're not getting more than 2
シュワ
because
ル
he'll
ツ
throw
選
the
手が
guard.
投げたストー
I
ンは
wonder,
見事に青
do
い
you
ス
ever
ト
think
ーン
about peeling
SC
the
軽
guard
井
that he
沢
just threw? Make
チーム
sure you've got a
柳
shot
沢
on
の
both
ストー
sides.
ン
You
を
can't take both of them away.
ガードしている状態になっているので
You've got the draw on the
さ
outturn
あ
side, and
こ
if you
こか
peel
ら
that guard, you've got the
ど
in-turn
う
tap
やっ
again.
て
If you don't, this is
2
an
点
all or
目を
nothing
狙
shot
って
here.
いくのか。
If you make this shot, you're going to get 2, and if you don't make it, you won't have a shot for 2. And if ever something goes drastically wrong on this and you leave a double, game could be over right here. Can't tell what they're looking at now. Looks like they've seen something else.
このあたり
Really
難
sure.
し
I
い
don't see
選
anything
択を
with
強
those
いら
red
れそう
rocks
で
in the
す。
middle. It's not like running anything back will do something for you.
No, I can't say that I see anything
はい、
there
仕
either.
事を
Are they
しながら
thinking if
見てい
they
ただいているということでありがとうございます。
hit the two reds there side by each, do they think that one is going to come back and push that
200
blue
人
into
を
the
超え
rings? I don't
た
think it's ever going to
視
get
聴
over
者
the
が
top
日
enough
本
to
か
push
ら
towards the 4-foot. Might be able to
炎
push it into
と
the 8-foot, but
ダイナマイト
the
の
two red stones in the rings are still covered.
絵
That
文
doesn't
字
really
が
help you.
もうチャットの上を埋め尽
Either
くさ
way, it
んば
looks
かり
like
です。
whatever they were looking at, they didn't like it. So they've decided to instead go with this long angle tap, but kind of like this is maybe a better angle, easier to get it deep in there, but you sort of
さ
run into the same
あ、端
problem
の
as that
方に
draw. If you
ある
end up
こ
not
の
tapping it far enough or put it in the bad
十字方
spot,
向
you
の
could
青い
leave
ストー
a
ンを
double.
使ってい
There's a
こう
lot
と
that
いう
could
の
go
か。
wrong with this. You could leave the double. If you hit it a little thin, you put it onto the
柳
red
沢
at the
選
top
手、
of the 4-foot, tap it in for shot.
ラストロック、
Anything onto the side of that red stone, the blue will still be accessible. This is a big shot here now. Having said that, Yanagisawa has made big shot after big shot all day. Needs to pull one more out.
They seem to like it. Think it's close.
Actually going to be just a little bit too thick on the contact.
押
They
しは
might
し
have
ま
been
し
better
た
to
が、
sweep that back after the contact. I think
角
he's
度
left the
は
double.
中心の
I
方に
think
向
so
かっ
too.
て飛ん
Even
で
if
はいきませ
even
んで
if
した。
Benoit Schwartz doesn't make the double here and he rolls into his own red, he's gonna have the right amount of spin that he could just end up spinning up into the 4-foot anyways. Chance to put this game on ice, I think, if you're Benoit Schwartz here.
Yeah, if you can stay flat enough to make the double, stay full 4-foot. I'm not even sure. You know, there's the edge of the 4-foot's available for the draw, but whether or not he can get
あ、失
full
礼しました。
4-foot or
先
not,
ほどのは柳沢選
that
手、
I'm not so sure.
1投目でしたね。ラスト1投手前のショットでした。シュワルツ選手のこちらがラストショッ
With the hit,
ト。
they called the sweep on right away. He needs fairly thick contact on the first one. Makes the hit, comes across and just onto his own, but does, as you said,
青
spin
か
up and
らの
actually
ヒットロール
probably into
で
a better spot. There's no draw for
どう
one.
やらナンバー
Gonna
ワ
have to
ン
play
は
some kind of an angle in.
シエラーのチームが
Now the only good thing
取
for
ったよう
Yanagisawa,
です。
if he hits this just right, could he get 3?
さあ、ただまだもう一つ
Bring the shooter across,
同じような
taps
位置
the
に
top
ストー
edge
ン
of
が
that
残
red
ってま
onto
すん
the
で
second
ね。
one, so you double the reds.
そこから
He
狙
does
う
have
の
that
か。
biter at the top of the 12-foot. I think the reds go around the blue at the back.
Definitely. I think it is there. I mean, you're talking about millimeters of precision, but it is, the possibility is there for a 3, I think.
ただそちら側からだと青、赤、赤、青というような感じで並んでますんでね、ハウスの中は。ちょっと心配な面があります。
I think you're either going into the last end up one or possibly shaking hands with this.
The question here is, do you play it as an in-off or do you play the angle in? And it looks like with this, they're going to play it as an
まあ
in-off.
先ほど投げてはいるということもあるので、そちらから行くということにしたようです。
You'll have a ton of spin off the shooter when you're playing into it like this, and actually when he hits the second one, this one could spin out the top of the house.
Right, it'll be shooting sideways, but the angle is better.
The angle is definitely better. The first one, to try to shoot it in there as a slash, you'd be hitting that first one so paper thin. It's really tough shot. You'll carry more weight through with your shooter this way.
気を取り直して柳沢選手、このエンドラストロック。
One sweep within the other, so this has got to be close.
どうだ?
Makes contact, catches the third one. Now is it going to leave the rings? Wow, he hit that where he needed to hit it to get 3, not able to quite get it all the way out of the rings. He will pick up 2, but within a couple of inches of taking the lead, we're all tied up after 7 ends.
2点
人が笑顔で過ごし続けるためには、誰かの助けが必要なこともあります。笑顔を支える仕事がしたい、誰かに助けが必要な時に力になりたい、社会医療法人敬人会。
いやー、もう本当に柳沢選手、神がかってるというようなショットでしたね。最後にハウス後半、後ろ側に押し込んでいった赤が出切ってしまえば3点だったんだと思うんですが、ちょっと確認しますが、おそらく2点なんじゃないかなと思います。はい、スコアはどうやら5対5。あれだけ厳しい状況の中、同点に持ってきました SC 軽井沢、チーム柳沢。もうこのチームは本当にこの大会ただでは終わらない。
Ended up hitting that a little thicker than they would have liked. Puts it through the back. Well, that is a free guard zone violation. They put the stone back, remove the shooter.
いやー、本当に決勝までハラハラドキドキが続きます。これはちょっと今シーズンのね、トップ10ショットとかに入りそうなぐらいすごいショットがいろいろとありましたね。この
last end shot from Yanagisawa, they probably could have gotten it for 3.
Oh yeah, for sure. You know, it's a whisker different hit. The second one obviously jammed just a little bit too solid, but really at point of contact.
さあ、フリーガードゾーンを使って、チーム柳沢 SC 軽井沢男子は前にストーンを置いてきています。そしてシエラの方はウィック、ティックショットをしようとしてチャレンジはしてきていますが、元に戻されているというような状況。
Subarashi, as they might say in Japanese. Great shot.
Well, with 2 guards up there, not going to attempt the second tick shot. Don't think they wanted it where it ended up either. It ends up
さあ皆さん、最後の最後までぜひ現地にいる SC 軽井沢チーム柳沢に応援を届けましょ
う。So looking for the come around here, and then I think we can expect appeals will start.
Unfortunately, that first guard wasn't on the center line. They got the staggered guard situation, so the double skills would be a little bit easier.
ありがとうございます。さあ、ついにもうここしかありません。このエンド。ご覧いただいている人も人数も227名と。
double peel is the call.
平日の午前中にもかかわらず多く
Get
の
this
方
over
に
the
ご
top
覧
of
い
the
ただい
center
てい
line.
ま
You
す
might。even be able to bring it back and maybe move that stone off the top of the forefoot. You risk jamming it on your own, but really if it gets behind the tee line, it's not worth it. Gets the double peel by the rocks in the rings.
Yeah, tie game in the last end, and Matt Hall was telling me earlier that at the top level, men's, the Hammer team in this situation probably has an 80, 85, perhaps even higher percentage of winning, depending on the
はい
team.
もうね24時からずっとご覧いただいている皆さんもいらっしゃるわけで
Take that champion's check, but it's not over yet.
No, it's not over yet, and they've seen
非常に選手ともども
Riku
この
Yanagisawa
応援
pick
してい
their
る皆
pocket
さ
a
ん
few
も
times
長
already
い
in this
戦
game,
い
so
を
I
繰
don't
り
think
広
they're
げ
going to
て
be
いま
counting
す
their chickens yet. They won't be happy until they can see the button with the last one.
このエンドもしっかりと粘っていってほしい
Not sure how many chickens there are in Switzerland, but I think they have a lot of sheep.
'These are always those situations. It's really hard when you're in the position where you need to steal because it takes you 25 seconds to put that guard in play, and you're not even
さあ
back to the
先
hog
行
line
ですん
yet.
で
They've
ね
already
と
peeled
に
it.
かく
Now you got to turn around and sweep again.
点数を取れるこのネタといいますか
Just got to keep putting up a
手
good
前
guard
に
here.
ガードなり
Make sure they don't
ストーン
leave a
をどんどん置い
guard
てい
that's
きた
off
い
the center line, something that Team Schwaller might be tempted to run into the blue line.
山口選手
I think both these teams by making the
と
final
今
have
心の
pocketed
中静かに燃えているはずです
$5,000. But the winner's check is 10,000. So 5,000 on the line here. And I love those events in Japan where they have these big novelty checks with 1 million yen. And that's $10,000 approximately in Canadian, but it sounds so much more when it's 1 million yen.
You see all those zeros and you get excited, do you? Well, that guard curls just enough that it teased Yannick Schwaller. He thought about making a play on the stone at the top of the forefoot just because he can see a sliver of it.
さあ
But
チーム
opting
シエ
to
ラ
peel the guard.
シエラ選手サードは今センターに置かれたストーンを
Interesting here in this situation. No, he's from the hacks, maybe thinking he
払
can
お
see
う
enough
と
of
し
it.
ていまし
That
た
guard is
が
fairly high. If you could get to the stone in the rings, that guard by itself,
戻ってきましたね
it's not a great guard. It's a little higher than they would have liked.
さあ皆さんもう残り少ないです
Still thought he would just straight peel
ぜ
it. I
ひ
was just about to ask you the
チーム
question,
軽井
Jason.
沢
What point in the end do
SC
you
軽井
think
沢チーム
Yanagisawa changes gears,
柳沢
or
の
does he? Would you guard this
方
right
へ
up to the last stone, and then on your very final
応援
stone,
の
do
お
you
気持
tap
ち
that
を
one up, or do you make a play on the red one?
送ってあげてくだ
Not
さい
shot rock right now, so you
念
have
を
to do
送りまし
something
ょう
eventually, but you could wait right to the last stone.
I would rate right to the last stone. I think you do want to bring this guard a little bit tighter on your
さ
second
あ
last
戻
stone.
ってきて
Not
話し
too
合った
tight
結
to
果は
induce the double, but a
ま
little bit
た
tighter, right in line.
やはり
And
セ
then
ン
hopefully
タ
you
ー
get a
を
chance to maybe play
開
a
け
hidden
ると
roll off that red one.
いう
Maybe sit
と
two
ころ
and
です
force Benoit Schwartz to make a double and
これ
split
で
for the win.
後ろも狙っているかシンプルに開けてきました
So they did go back to the peel and makes
Peels
that.
it. Yeah, we'll see how this plays out. Room goes down, so another guard, not unexpected here.
No, it does maybe put something in your head here. You do know that Schwaller came
さあ
down on his
山
last
口
one,
選
so
手
he's
の
got to be thinking
また
Hey, if
シ
we're
ョ
not
ット
dead
に
in
なり
line
ま
here,
す。
he's going to make a play on shot stone.
みんなから炎が、そして稲妻が送られているぞ、山口選手。
Looks like he's got nice line coming in now. Is this going to stop in time?
ここはしっかりと
Well, he
前
was
に
thinking
置いて
about
き
it
ま
the
し
last
た。
time. He can see a little bit more this time, but the guard is tighter. So just playing the straight peel again. And it'll be just the skip stones left to come.
さあ、シェーラー選手の今度は2投目。
Schwaller with the peel, rolls his shooter out of play. Yanagisawa surveying the situation. He's thinking
こ
about
こ
playing
も
into
し
the
っ
rings
かり
now.
開けてきましたね。さあ、
I'd love to
残
see
り
them
の
call
も
timeout
う
and
投
get
数
Bob
は
Bursell out again. Want to see if he's in his Hawaiian
コー
outfit.
ススキップのストーン
Well,
と
I
なり
didn't
ま
say it
す。
was Hawaiian, just the beach attire. He had his trunks on.
No Speedos here, right?
I think the days for Speedos are past.
For his age, yes.
前に置くのか。
Well, he's my age, so I'm not going to go too far there.
はい、赤にアングルフリーズとかでもね、まあそのままフリーズでもいいと思うんですけど、それもありだとは思います。
Looking at freeze in the back one, that was his first indication. You could just straight guard again. Problem
Sean,
with
if you go
freeze.
straight guard, if you go straight guard, what does
これまでこの
Schwaller
大会で
do?
は
Do they just peel off the guard again? If the guard is
I think he's-
perfect, do you just
幾
peel
度と
again?
なくこ
I
の
think he's
チーム
still
の
peeling
ピ
the
ンチ
guard
を
because
救ってきた柳沢
what do
選
you do? You
手。
play into the rings, and no matter what you do, he's going to either be able to come in off that one or what you leave him with the
ハッ
next
ク
one.
に
He's
入り
got
ま
to
し
peel the
た。
guard. He's got to make sure the middle's open for his last one. The problem if he's playing the freeze here, and I think he might be, is that if you're dead frozen on the red stone, this isn't
さあ、
last rock.
静か
Benoit
に
Schwartz
ハ
could play
ッ
the
ク
angle
から出ま
slash
す
of the。 blue and just try to kill everything, because if he jams it, he's still behind the tee line, and that doesn't hurt him. I think they did go back to the guard. That's probably the right call.
Yeah, that's what I would have done for sure.
前にセンターガードを置いてきました。
Looking about whether or not they want to run it through. Talking about coming off their own, a little bit risky.
本当にこれは最後の一投までわからないぞ。 チームシエラーもこの大切なショットを入念に打ち合わせして、
They talked about a couple of different shots, but I
シ
think
ャ
in
ル
the
ツ選
end,
手もハック
going
に
back
向
to
か
the
いま
straight
す。
peel. And
I think this is the wisest.
Yeah, it all boils down to really the shot
さあ、
that
ここは
Yanagisawa probably has to play on his next one is to hit and roll over to the
ラス
back
ト
of
ロッ
the,
クを
the
持っ
button. If
て
he
い
makes
る
it dead perfect, it's still a very
チ
short
ームシ
double.
エラ
And if it's anything less than dead perfect, you've got a
ー、
shot
シュワル
for
ツ選手の一投
one
です。
coming down to it. With whatever weight you want to throw, depends how much you can see.
きっちりと開けてきました。はい、皆さん深呼吸してください。深呼吸。 あと2投ですよ。あともうラストロックそれぞれです。
Front edge of that stone's at
深
the
呼
tee
吸
line.
して
If he plays the
心
hit
臓
rollover,
ねドキ
his
ドキしちゃ
rock's
ってる
going to be
方、
basically splitting the tee line. There's only going to be
まだ
put in half between the two blue stones. That's a pretty
柳沢
short
選手
double.
投げないですから。
I'm surprised, and that's the other shot that they could play, and that's the one where they can get a little more separation, is if they play the straight back tap on their own. They'd still have the double, but there'd be more separation between the two rocks, and he wouldn't have it either way. He'd have to play it one way because the red stone is there on the other side to jam on.
I guess you can also corner freeze on the red one.
さあここはまた
You could.
山口
nose
選
hit
手と
probably
柳
wouldn't.
沢選手入念
Yep,
に
there would be a nose hit, but
打ち合わ
you
せ
can't
をして
roll
います。
away, so I think they've decided to hit and flop behind, leave Benoit Schwartz a double.
軒並みチャットでは仕事サボる時間延長とか仕事サボって銀行に来たとか大変なことになっております。
Well, there is the possibility with the double being short enough. Maybe if he makes the double, he has
カ
to
ーリン
roll
グ
out.
スタジアムジャパンもしかしていろんな会社から業務妨害で訴えられたりとかしないでしょうか。ちょっと心配です。
Hard to know until you see exactly where they come to rest.
さあ
If you can leave them
柳沢
dead
選
in
手
line,
ハックに入っ
there's
た。
only about a foot and a half
ここ
between
から
them.
い
It's
つもと
possible
変
he
わ
has
ら
to
ぬ
hit
よう
it far
に
enough off the nose that he loses the shooter too.
放たれました。
That would result in a blank and a extra end that way.
小泉選手がスイ
They're
ー
gonna
プ
have
を
to
し
go
て
just to hold the shooter here. Well, now it's straightened up. Thought he got inside the
さあ
the
今度は
nose pretty
山
early.
本選手に切り替わる。小泉選手にまた切り替わる。
Makes the hit.
ヒッ
Does
ト
roll
して
over,
ロ
but
ール
doesn't get it quite dead
縦
in
に
behind.
並びました。
So there definitely is room to get the double and stay in the house.
ナイスショットですね。
Nose are just
こ
off
の
the
場
nose a
面で
little bit.
これをきっちり
With the weight that Benoit can throw, he can probably get away with nose.
決めてきました。もうまさにこれは柳沢選手、小泉選手、山本選手、
Well, Sean, it's been an
山口選
exciting
手
game so far, and it's going to be an exciting finish
全
here.
員のコンビネーション、コミュニケーションで成功させたショットと言えるでしょう。さあ、決勝
Benoit
最後
Schwartz,
の一投です。
fourth door for the Schwaller team.
チームシエラ、
Final stone here in the eighth end. Needs the double
ス
for
ワ
the
ルツ
win.
選手、ダブルテイクを
Benoit
狙
on
って
the
くる。
close. Makes the hit. Catches the second stone. Now will the shooter hang around? No, it's going to roll out, and we're going to have an extra end.
Wow.
Dodges
ピールア
another
ウト
bullet.
して、
Yanagisawa
ブラ
gets
ン
to
ク。
play one more end. Bonus coverage for the viewers at home.
Imagine a place with endless
さあ CM に入りました。
possibilities.
ちょっとこれは
Imagine a
また
place where people
最後
come
になると思いますが、
together to
経
build
人会
families.
さんのシーン。
人が笑顔で過ごし続けるためには誰かの助けが必要なこともあります。笑顔を支える仕事がしたい、誰かに助けが必要な時に力になりたい、社会医療法人経人会。
Saskatchewan, you know SaskTel.
さあ
because
皆
we're
さん、
everywhere. Because being everywhere keeps us connected to you. You are what matters most.
いかがでしょう
With
か。
SaskTel sponsorships,
大丈夫
we
です
get to be a
か。
part of your community. From the dance competitions to the rodeos to helping discover and embrace technology across the province, we're here with you and we're here for you. It's easy to get started. All you need to do
3
is
連
apply.
続の試合、
Every year,
徹夜
SaskTel
明け
contributes nearly $3 million
もう
to
全
approximately
く
1,000 nonprofits,
そんな
charities,
感覚は
associations, and
どこか
events
へ
in
吹
more
き
than
飛んでしまい
200
ました。
communities across Saskatchewan. So keep dancing, keep laughing, keep
8エンド、
and we'll be there to help, to lend a hand.
柳沢選手の見事なショットでヒットロールを決めて、
Always will, because we
さら
are
に
dedicated to our home. To apply
ラ
for
ストロッ
sponsorship,
ク、
visit
シュワルツ選手は
sastel.com/sponsorships.
ダブルでテイクしたんですが、そこでもシューターもピールアウトと。同点ラストエンドからのさらにブランクになってエキストラエンド。素晴らしい試合になっています。誰がね、SC が勝つって、チーム柳沢が勝ってくれっていうふうに祈ってる人たちはもちろんいたでしょうし、我々も放送しながらそれを願ってこの決勝戦へ臨んでいますが、まさかエキストラエンドにまでもつれ込むとは。シーズン初めのカナダ合宿一発目のこのイベント試合で、
Then in the seventh, Yanagisawa with his final stone, again an in-off, almost scored three, jammed the second one a little too solid, and it didn't spin all the way out of the ring.
さあ、引き続きブランクエンドですので、ラストロックはチームシエラーが持っています。
on his final stone makes the double, but his shooter, carrying a lot of spin, rolls just out of the rings, and so here we are in an extra end.
さあ、皆さん、引き続きこのエンドを熱く応援していきましょう。どうやらカーリングスタジアムジャパンのチャット内では、会社の上司と部下という関係で、サボりを許可するというか、視聴許可を社長さんが出しているというような状況になっております。
Schwaller looking to perhaps play the tick on that again. He could just hit the open one. The guards are off the center line now. You'll be able to peel them on your next attempt.
さあ、ここはしっかりと得点を最後に取れるような形にしていきたい。
Hangs around in the rings. It's the kind of stone where you try to stay on a shot like that because if it comes down to an open hit with the last one, you might not have to stay now.
センターガードがしっかりある状態です。
And yet it's far enough out to the side that it's not going to be in your way. You do have to throw something to the middle with your last shot.
Yeah, they wish they had that kicker in the last end.
Yeah.
さあ、山本選手、カムアラウンドを
Yamamoto now being asked to play the come around on those two guards that are off the center line. Plenty of room coming by. This looks like a lot of weight.
Yeah, this is going to slip well deep. It's a big mistake here.
残しました。
Hangs around, but I think Schwaller might still be shot. And the reason that matters, if the guards all disappear and you want to be sitting two to try to steal your one, well, that rock's not going to help you. Back 8 foot even. The guards all disappear. You can sit one top 8 foot. You're sitting two. You force Schwaller into a decision.
チームシエラはもうこれは前を外しにかかってきます。
He would just have to make shot rock go away. A lot of rocks to come before we see how that plays out.
bit careful.
I was a little surprised to see him peel it that direction, to be honest.
Me too. Wondering if Sven just has a preference for that side on the peels.
It could be Sven, could be the team. A lot of teams, traditionally, not necessarily as much these days, like to peel from the outside in. That's one of the things that I found with players is, as I went from, I'm of the generation where we started with no free guards and then gradually had 3 and then 4 and then 5. A lot of players in my generation got used to playing everything from the outside in, and
さあ、
nowadays,
山
because
本
there's
選
usually a
手、
rock in the
2
forefoot,
投
a lot
目
of。peels are played from the inside out. So I've played with some younger players who are far more comfortable playing from the inside out. Looking here to replace that guard.
ここは前にガード置いてきました。
Might have left him a little bit of an angle if he wants to try it, but you'd be flirting with staying on the center line with your shooter. It would be really high.
そしてチームシエラとしてはこれを外しに来る。
Taking any chance at the double peel is just going to straight pick this one.
I think Sven heard us and said, I'll show you I can throw the inside out too. All right, you got me.
Makes us wonder why you didn't call it the last time though.
さあ、それを繰り返していきます。山口選手、1投目です。
Now the difference here this end as opposed to last end, when regarding the center line, the last end, this end, with that guard being about a foot off, just protecting the corner of the forefoot, if you keep throwing guards too long, I think on Benoit Schwartz's first stone, he might actually draw. As much as anything else, as a kind of a rehearsal for his last stone, knowing that he's still going to have the button with his last one.
ここもきっちりセンターへガード。
He's been throwing a lot of big weight hits Benoit has in the last 3 ends.
Yeah, so that's something you have to be a little bit conscious of if you're Yanagisawa. You can't just... You'll be able to throw guards for a couple yet, but you might have to make a decision on your first one to come in, because if you throw one more guard at that point,
そしてチームシエラも
Schwartz has no reason
サー
not
ド
to come around.
シエラ選手、
He's always going to have the pin available for his last
山
one.
口選手が決めたセンターガードを外しにかかります。
Now, he may not do that if it comes down to that, but you do have to be conscious of that as a possibility at least.
さあ、柳沢選手はここまた同じところに立って、
Oh, for sure, yeah. It's just a question of whether you
山
throw a
口選
guard
手
with
も
the
集
skips
中
first
し
stone,
て
do you have to come in?
ハックから出ました。
The other option, I guess, if you throw one more guard after this, do you worry about lining up to the red, or do you split center with it and hope for a mistake? They gradually, one at a time, have crept a little closer to center with every stone. They haven't been able to talk Yannick Schwaller into trying the double peel yet. It's probably your best chance of getting something back to the
そし
center
て
line.
また
You could
こ
convince
こ
Yannick
も
Schwaller to make
サ
a
ード
pass
同
at
士
the
の
double
対
peel.
決では
They got a little
チーム
unfortunate
シエラ
to
の
jam
シエラ
something.
選手2投目は今山口選手が決めたセンターガードをまた外しに行きます。
Yeah, you're going to sit two that way, and that's one of the ways to steal two. You're not in a great situation if all you're doing is drawing around one on a corner anyway.
Well, they've had no problems with the peels this end. There's the indication. Going around, that's what Riku's first thought was.
さあ、
They're taking a look around the
残りは
outside.
2投ず
It
つ。
matters a little who's second, but not a lot. Boy, they're looking hard. Must be close.
I agree with you. It probably doesn't matter too much. With this guard still in play, you're going to go around it. I don't think you're ever hitting the red stone.
Yeah, if the guard's not there, then it might make a difference. The guard's still there for now.
先行チーム柳沢 SC 軽井沢男子のエキストラエンドフォーススキップ柳沢陸選手の
I'm trying to look at their hand signals
1
to figure
投
out
目
what
で
they
す。
were doing or trying to indicate. But I didn't understand that.
No, the only ones I figured out, and I think they're kind of universal, they've got the fist to the hip is bumper weight, and they had one that was a little lower than that. The hand was on the knee, and I figured, well, if fist to the hip was bumper, that must mean hand on the knee is hack. And those are the only two I've been able to figure out. For a lot of it, they don't use a lot of hand signals. They do talk to each other. Of
さ
course, with no other
1投
game
目が
left on
今
the sheet.
放たれました。
Pretty quiet out there right now. They're able to talk from one end to the other.
Yeah, in the future when we have the player mics,
The player mics on the Japanese team aren't going to help me a lot anyway.
I'm going to teach you one word of Japanese right now. When they want hack weight, it's haku. So, same word, basically. Nice
ハ
draw.
ウスの中にナンバーワンとしてドローカムアラウンドが決まりました。
It is only in the 8 foot though, so right now,
Nice
Schwaller
shot.
has a lot of real estate to draw to. For the win, what would you do here if you were Team Schwaller? Would you peel off that guard and...
Well, then you're going to be facing two. They did put that draw in a very good spot because when I was talking earlier about if you just leave that and Benoit Schwartz was going to draw, that's where he'd want to go. He'd want to go in that path. I guess if you were going to draw now, you could draw edge of the 4 foot on the open side. They'd probably have to play it, and then you're going to have an open shot for your last one. Nothing wrong with this run through. You can actually
さ
hit
あ
this
シ
just
ュ
a
ワル
little
ツ
bit on
選手
the
のショットになりま
board
す。
side. Double the blues and perhaps leave the run back
前
stone
に
top
あ
8
る
foot
ガードから
wide open.
That would be ideal. What you don't want to be is just on the inside and roll to the center guard. They're not doing that. That's a great result.
見事に後ろにあったナンバーワンを弾き出しました。
And now is the situation where it actually kind of matters who's got second shot. If Yanagisawa thinks their second shot, you could just draw. You could try to draw there regardless.
They haven't gone back to have another look at this red and blue and see who's closer, so I'm guessing that they actually think they know they are blue.
さあ最後はどこに置いてくるのか。
I'm still looking at it, and I still think it's the Schwaller stone. It is close, though. It's really close.
Well, their eyes are a little bit younger than yours.
Well, and they're a lot closer than I am, too.
もうこの試合こ
I
の
hate
エ
to
ン
be
ドま
wrong.
でエ
If
キ
I
スト
were
ラエンド
the
ま
vice,
で
and that's the call I made and told my skip we're closer. I better be sure.
本当に息をつかせないというか気持ちが
Now, if
途
this
切れ
was
る
a
ことはあり
North
ませんで
American
し
team
た。
of any kind, but Canadian, American, doesn't matter. You might think that what they're doing here, are they playing freeze the kicker?
ハウスを狭くしてドローをさせたいという気持ちもあると思います。ただあまり中心に近いところに入っていってしまえば単純にヒット&ステイという形で終わる可能性もある。
If you put it, they did talk about drawing wide towards that corner guard, but if you get anywhere over there, he only needs to be just full 8 foot with the draw, and he's just going to draw. You draw to the 4 foot, he's going to know his hit it. So if you need him to hit and roll out for the win, you better make sure you're sitting 2.
I'm starting to think Bob Urso will maybe fall asleep because they're not calling a timeout, and it might be a good time to do so, but if Bob's on the couch, certainly is a long week for the coach to be there every single draw, every single game, and actually having to pay
どうや
attention.
ら作戦が決まったようです。
Well, I think they've decided. Drawing to the top of the 8.
T の後ろにある青いストーン、SC 軽井沢のストーンを守るかのように5番。
It's in the other guy's hands anyway. You have no control after you throw your rock. Nothing out of the
さあ
brushes
どう
so
だ
far.
スイーパーは様子を見ている。
From this Yanagisawa rink, particularly Riku, with some great last stone shots.
そこからしっかりコントロールして
Just bring this in for shot or second shot. Well, he didn't get second shot out of it.
But they've covered their back stone, so they do force a draw, I think.
Benoit Schwartz is going to draw, and you know what? If he misses the house, you might see them measure this anyway. I'm not sure who's got shot rock. I think Schwaller thinks it's them. But if you're playing the draw here, you can't hurt yourself.
さあやるべきことはすべてやったと思います。
Nothing against Team Schwaller. I'd kind of like to see the measure, though.
チームシエラ
Oh, that's just a mean thing to wish upon somebody after the way this
フ
game
ォー
has
スの
gone.
シュワルツ選手のラストロック、エキストララストロックです。
I really feel like they deserve an upgrade from that bronze medal. They've been winning so often.
8フットに丸々入れば
On
も
this
う
all the way down means they like the weight. He will put it right on the top of the button.
見事に
Benoit
ド
Schwartz,
ロ
the
ー
fourth
が
thrower,
ボ
putting
タ
the
ン
stone
に
on the
かか
button.
って
Schwaller will pick up the
試合
single
終
point
了。
and the victory here in an extra end over Yanagisawa. And
エ
thus
キスト
concludes
ラエ
all
ン
of
ド
the action here from the Curling Stadium Martensville International. Schwaller, the
激しい
winner on the men's
戦いを
side.
制したのは
We want to thank
スイ
everyone who's
ス
been with us
チ
all
ーム
week.
シェラーで
Including
した。
Sean Joyce. It's been Jason Chang
い
joining me here
や
at the end of this
SC
game.
軽井沢も素晴ら
Outstanding
しい
curling.
試
We've
合で
enjoyed
し
it. We
た。
hope you did, and we'll look forward to seeing you at our next event.
Martensville マーテンスビル決勝。エキストラエンドまでもつれ込みました。最後は相手チームシュワルツ選手の見事なドロー。予選リーグを5位で通過して無敗の1位抜けだったフラッシュチームフラッシュもリベンジして決勝まで勝ち進みました。
人が笑顔で過ごし続けるためには、誰かの助けが必要なこともあります。笑顔を支える仕事がしたい、誰かに助けが必要な時に力になりたい、社会医療法人敬人会。
さあ皆さん、一日が非常に長いこの大会をチーム柳沢、SC 軽井沢とともに戦ってきました。ご視聴ありがとうございました。カーリングスタジアムジャパン、また
With SaskTel sponsorships, we get to be a part of your community. From the dance competitions, to the rodeos, to helping discover and embrace technology across the province, we're here with you, and we're here for you. It's easy to get started. All you need to do is apply. Every year, SaskTel contributes nearly $3 million to approximately 1,000 nonprofits, charities, associations, and events in more than 200 communities across Saskatchewan.
引き続きですね、今シーズンもまだ始まったばかりです。カーリングスタジアムジャパン。これからもカナダの大会をお届けしていきたいと思います。
To apply for sponsorship, visit sastel.com/sponsorships.
ぜひまた皆さん、Twitter、インスタ、Facebook 等でご案内させていただきますので、またこちらのチャンネルで日本のチームを応援していただければと思います。さあ、ここからまたSC のカナダでの試合は続きます。そして他の日本のチームもカナダにどんどん入ってくると思いますので、そういったチームの情報をですね、またカーリングスタジアムジャパンからお届けできるようにしていきたいと思います。さあ、それでは皆さん、はい、ありがとうございます。ゆっくり休んでくださいねということで、これからまた私も通常の業務に戻りたいと思います。またぜひこのチャンネルでお会いしましょう。それでは皆さんごきげんよう。ありがとうございました。